You have entered the Chronic's rabbit hole. This is episode number 4 for Storytime with ETC. This is the band Our Dying World. They are from Los Angeles. And at the top left here, we have Tom, who is the drummer. We have David, who is the vocalist. We have Nick, who is the bassist. Austin, which is the guitarist. Lead or rhythm? Split, right on. Yeah. And then Graham, you are the keyboardist and orchestration, right?
Yes, thank you.
Right on. So it's awesome to meet you guys. And we are from Calgary, Alberta. I don't know if you guys ever been to Calgary or Canada or anything.
I've been to Vancouver.
Nice.
Went to Whistler. It was awesome. I love Canada. Want to go again.
Yeah. I haven't been, but one of my favorite superstars is from Alberta.
Nice.
The Hitman Hart.
Never heard, but everyone that we hear from, we're gonna go check out after this.
Yes.
Oh, Bret Hart? Oh, come on.
Oh, Bret Hart. No, I heard Bret Hart. I definitely.
They said Brett Favre. I was like, what?
Oh, Bret the Hitman Hart.
I'm a big wrestling fan, so that absolutely. Hell yeah.
Dude, every time that music hits, dude, it's just chills. I watched the '97 Royal Rumble with him and Steve Austin, and I just remember that as a kid doing him coming in. Austin sitting on the turnbuckle, just like, oh no.
Oh my god! Yeah. I started making WWE shorts on this channel, so that's hilarious.
Nice.
Dude, love it.
But anyways, this is Alanna, my lovely fiance.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
And I'm sure you guys know me. I am Kyle, aka Chronic. But
yes.
But thank you guys so much for being here. We wanted to start by kind of talking about the band itself, because that's something all you guys have in common, obviously. So Tom is actually the one who founded this in 2018. That's correct, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you're an ex-Whiplash member, which is amazing, which started in 1984.
Yeah. And
I noticed that you guys are striving to take melodic metal to a place where it's yet to go. And I know you guys started death and thrash metal with your first 2 albums, and you're now moving towards more symphonic, right?
Right.
So how about we'll start with Tom and we'll make a way kind of down. So we'll go Tom, Nick, Austin, Graham, then David, and you guys can let us know which way you're trying to strive to push this music right now.
Right. So yeah, when I started the project back in 2018, Nick and I had a jam with some musicians in the local area, and it didn't go so hot. And we kind of realized that, him and I, we're not to kind of put ourselves on a pedestal, but we were older and we realized what we wanted. And we had certain goals for ourselves that we thought other people kind of needed to share in order for this to, for there to be an actual project on the table. So I told Nick, give me like 6 months. I'm going to come back to you with something. And I went and I recorded virtually everything except the vocals. And while I was looking for people, I realized that when you're looking for a band, a lot of people, they just want to see like the songs that you already have written. So they have something. They don't like having an open floor plan. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
So it became a little tough to find people. And then I reached out to a Craigslist ad, and David was attached to it. And I was like, oh, I'm friends with this guy on Facebook already. Let me kind of scour his socials and see what he's capable of. And I liked the tone in his voice and the videos I saw, and I was like, okay, this guy seems solid. Let me ask him. So I basically sent Dave the riff to what is now Postmortem, and he was like, yeah, we'll see where this goes. Okay. So I went into the studio, I tracked everything, guitar, bass, drums, all of it. And then I brought Dave in, and I was like, hey, this is what I have for lyrics. I'll help you do the production on them, just perform them. So that's how Expedition came around.
Okay, and, that's your first EP, right? And you guys are independent label, right?
Yeah, we're not signed to anybody. We're certainly looking, but we've had an offer on the table before, and it wasn't really something that we thought would really give us the best push we could have gotten. So we decided that, hey, now's not the right time for that. Thanks for the offer, but we're going to pass.
Right.
So we're hoping these next series of songs really kind of puts us up on the map because, I mean, the evolution from Expedition to the Egregious Sins is like, it's like 3 separate bands have done all those albums. But,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how about you, Nick? Since you've joined the band, what is some of your motivation for pushing this metal into more of a bigger genre for everyone?
Well, I think my motivation is the addition of Graham and his capabilities, because it's absolutely completely 180 from where we started.
Right.
From our, again, as Tom said, we started with our thrash roots, which is great, but it's not really representative of where we are capable of going. And adding Graham has really kind of been able to, wow, okay, we started down a path, but we were so able to just completely just brainstorm and go any direction with the music, which is kind of what we've done over the last couple of albums. We really just said, okay, we're not gonna hold back on anything. We're just gonna see where we can possibly take this. And it's gone, it's far, I won't speak for anyone else, but it's far exceeded my own expectations of what I thought we could do as a group.
Oh yeah.
And therefore, I'm just super excited for what the future holds, because I feel like we've only stuck our toe in the deep end of the pool. Now, once I can't wait to see what, album number 3 or 4 is going to be like, because we've kind of gone down this, we're now kind of, venturing down this symphonic path. So I'm thrilled to see where we're headed and what we're going to churn out, because even the couple singles we're working on right now that you haven't been exposed to, they're orders of magnitude better than anything we did in the Expedition days. So yeah, it's
exciting.
It's very exciting actually. So
yeah.
That's awesome, because I started as a thrash metal lover myself, Metallica, Megadeth, you name it. But now I've switched to, Nightwish and Epica and all that. So it's amazing. Yeah, and there's just so much more you can do with symphonic metal, I feel, as well. So I think that's a really amazing choice that you guys have taken. And Austin, when did you join the band, and what is some of your motivations to help?
I joined the band. I'm essentially the stray cat. They found me on the street.
I thought you were the goblin.
Me on the streets.
No, so I joined the band by accident. So they were the band. They were opening up for Swallow the Sun at a venue local to us called the Whiskey, and I went to go see Swallow the Sun, and I also noticed that Our Dying World's opening. I have friends in that band. Let me go say hi. And then at the time, there was a bit of a lineup change where Tom was actually playing guitar originally in this band, and we had a drummer. Something happened. Now Tom's playing drums, and I was confused. I was like, why is Tom, these are drums, not guitar? I am confused. And my initial comment was, if you need help finding a guitar player, let me help you out. And Tom took that as, okay, show up to practice.
It's the best mistake I ever made.
Yeah,
no kidding.
So that's how I joined. As for so I joined not after Expedition. I joined after Hymns, the most recent album they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I liked everything I heard, because I love the thrashy stuff, and I love the more Children of Bodom, Insomnia Mess stuff they were going for. Yes, these are all things I like, but I want darkness. So I brought more of the black metal stuff in, because my favorite bands are like Cradle of Filth, Dimmu Borgir, Krog, that kind of stuff. I like Satan's playlist, essentially. So I wanted to bring that in and put that into ODW. So that's where Egregious Sins was kind of my first song I wrote for the band. I'm like, how does this sound? And everyone seems to like it, so I'm pretty happy. So
we love it.
I loved it.
I saw the reaction, and it made me really happy. Thank you guys.
You're very welcome.
So going forward and everything, it's just that quote from Metalocalypse is just blacker than the blackest black times infinity. That's what I'm going for. Just dark and evil, and then these guys kind of roll back like, hey, we need some melody here. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
One thing I gotta ask, you've called yourself a stray cat and a goblin, but you have a nickname called Shadowsill?
So is anyone here a Warhammer 40K fan? By any
I know
chance?
of it.
Okay, so there is a character named Shadowsill. I read this book when I was a kid. So basically, there's this race of dark elves, and they're the most depraved and evil race in the whole thing. Basically, they have to torture and kill people to keep their souls from being claimed by an evil god.
Oh
and Shadowsill is the worst one. So I took that nickname as a kid and kind of ran with it. So so I just call myself that.
I love it. As a fellow nerd, I love that.
Nerds.
Well, Graham, you were the one who reached out to us, and
Yes.
I really appreciate that. First, I wanted to ask you, what made you reach out to us? Was it just because we're listening to a lot of symphonic metal? Did you like what we had to say, or anything?
Yeah,
Just nice people.
That too, but I also really liked there's a lot of those metal react channels, but I thought it was really cool that you were one that specifically almost seems to specialize in symphonic metal. I mean,
It's our niche. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that, and that's very much my background as far as metal is concerned. Is like I started with more accessible things like Slipknot, Lamb of God, what have you. But then once I found my niche, the thing that made me want to play keyboard was Children of Bodom, Dimmu Borgir, and then I got into Kalma. I don't know if you heard of those guys.
No, I've definitely heard of Children of Bodom, though.
They're kind of like Children of Bodom as well, but even more doubling down on the neoclassical things these days. Kalma, Norther. I really went down the Finnish rabbit hole, so to speak.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And so that was really what my impetus to really try to get as good as I can in keyboards. And so when I saw your channel, I was like, whoa, this is right up my alley as far as reaction channels go.
Wow, and look how full circle we're all here now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, that's amazing. And you joined the band in 2022 then?
It's all kind of a blur. It was like right when the pandemic was settling down and people were actually so it was either 2021 or 2022 somewhere. I don't know.
Within that blur.
That was a blur.
That general window. Yeah.
I think it was
had to be 2021.
Yeah, I think it was
they-
2021.
They put out a ad. Tom put out an ad on Facebook saying I'm looking for a metal keyboardist. And
Wow.
we're kind of few and far between, at least in the Southern California area. So
I think what I was
jumped on.
actually asking for was a drummer to replace our old guy, or something like that. And I said, while I'm asking for the impossible, are there any like unicorn keyboardists out there? And Graham was like, I love Children of Bodom. I was like, get the F out of here. Like, no way. You don't. All right, come on in.
No, you don't.
you don't.
Yeah. And then he came in and played Angels Don't Kill with the exact keyboard patch that Yanni uses. And he played
Morning Palace.
And I was like, dude, I already know you're gonna be the guy, so you got the job if you wanted.
Wow.
That was during sound check. That was sound
that
check.
quick, yeah.
That's incredible.
At that show I went to go see him at, where they recruited me, Graham played that Morning Palace intro. And I was in the front. Yes. And then I was like, well, fuck this band then.
By the way, guys, you're all doing amazing at taking turns and speaking here.
Yeah.
So like right on. And what I find really amazing too is the first concert I ever went to was Children of Bodom.
Nice.
In Canada. So that like it just feels like I have a lot of the same musical taste and inspiration as you guys. So that's why I also was really excited to get to talk to all of you guys and get to find out what you're all about. And David, we did not forget about you. David,
That's okay.
you, so don't worry. It looks like you've actually are performing for another band right now, Colonel Angus.
Colonel Angus.
Colonel Angus. Sorry.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Everybody loves Colonel Angus.
So that's definitely something we should check out as well.
Say it fast.
Well, have you been with the band since the beginning, or when did you join the band?
Yeah, so I moved from Mississippi to California in 2017, and then immediately put out ads, because that's kind of half the reason why I wanted to be here. So yeah, like I was already in a local band in California within a couple months. doing some like they had some like maideny riffs, and it was pretty cool. A couple older guys with the young drummer, and it was fine. It was fun. But I wanted, like metal, right? I didn't want like classic metal. I wanted like metal. And then like Tom said, like I put out a Craigslist ad, which he picked me up from, and like that was my first time in a professional recording studio. Was doing Expedition, so I had no idea what I was getting into. He sent me that riff, and I was like, yeah, sure, fine, let's see what happens. I got like a couple other people like hitting me up, so like we'll just see where this goes. Not too like gung ho about any like jumping into the pool, just like all right, cool. But that same ad that Tom picked me up from is the same ad that the guys from Colonel Angus picked me up from, because I was like, metal singer looking for band influences are like Opeth, Whitechapel, Lamb of God, like that kind of stuff. And then they hit me up, and Colonel Angus is an AC/DC salute, so we don't look like them. We aren't just like a run of the mill cover band. We don't look like them, but if you close your eyes, we'll take you to 1986. We have two singers. One guy who's been in there for a long time. He does the Bon Scott stuff, but asking one person to do 3 hours of AC/DC that's tough. It's a hard ask. So I'm in there doing the Brian Johnson vocals, so everything from Back in Black forward. Oh, wow. Along with some like Judas Priest and Guns N' Roses, stuff like that. And he does all the Bon Scott stuff and a couple other songs like the Cult, stuff like that. So it's kind of like we go out to some of these bars and breweries and stuff, and they love us because they're a bunch of gray hairs. Right. And then you get some kids in there because AC/DC is AC/DC. It's always going to be just straight, punch in your face kind of loud rock and roll. Yep. So it's a lot of fun, and cover bands are what make money. So metal doesn't make money. It's the playing the songs that everybody's heard 1,000 times over. Right. But yeah, as far as Colonel Angus, that's about that. It's just AC/DC tribute band. We play around town locally, get paid. I know you said your first concert was Children of Bodom. Did you actually happen to check out our Veil of the Reaper video? We were actually about to react to that before this, but just time got a little too quick before this interview happened because we got a kid and all of that. But we're actually gonna go. We're gonna go. It's all good. We're gonna go check actually that one because it looked like such an amazing production, and then we can kind of see before we put out this interview. We'll go check out a song from Expedition as well. And make sure we can absolutely see you guys, and we'll put these videos out before the interview to kind of let people know your progression. Okay. And I was just gonna say that was our homage to Children of Bodom, and everybody saw it and was like, "Oh well, there's a new Bodom. We already got Bodom out here." It's like, listen to the other songs. Listen to the other songs. Right? Yeah. They don't sound like Bodom. That's the one we made to sound like Bodom. That's good to know mentally. And also, when we first heard your single, Egregious Sins of Humanity, we thought there was two singers. You're that incredible. Oh, yeah. He's showing up here soon. Yeah, he's got range. Also, you guys have another guitarist, though?
We're auditioning one right now. So the last one took his leave. He had a different path in life he wanted to follow. So, we wished him well, and he's off to bigger and better things in his life. But we're actually going to meet up with our potentially new guy right after this. We're heading to rehearsal. We're gonna, really? We're gonna
busy day.
Do
you guys have a time limit? I never asked that before starting here.
No, we planned our day around making sure that we had all the time to do this. So
you guys
are not rushed or nothing. We got plenty of time.
I've got a 4-day weekend, so I've got the next 2 days off because America's birthday is coming up. So
yes, we just had Canada's birthday. We
just had Canada Day. Yeah,
nice. Happy birthday, Canada!
Hey! Well,
I don't think it's 4 a.m., so I got all the time.
Okay, that's good. We just appreciate your time, so we didn't want to take it all up if you had other things going on. But really, thank you for that. Awesome.
Yeah.
So also your Hymns of Blinding Darkness was released in June 24th, and this single came out in June. Does that mean you guys have plans for another album coming out? I know you guys have talked about a couple more singles that are already in the works. Is something else coming soon?
I could answer that. We actually we had a bunch of mishaps happen along the way to releasing Egregious Sins, and it should have been done a lot earlier. We've actually had some mishaps on the next two singles that we've got, so we got to get back to the drawing board, and we're going to be tracking drums for those this upcoming weekend. So
okay, nice.
Production has been a little, we're still figuring out the rhythm. There's, I mean, in every release there's stuff that happens, and you know, you just got to be prepared for it. So
setbacks happen.
Mhm.
I mean, with this, you know, the setbacks do happen, but as far as like the release scheduling, as an independent band who self-funds all their stuff, right now the market is actually more directed towards like it's cheaper and you can get a little bit farther with single releases as opposed to dumping all kinds of money into a full-length album and then having that promoted for, you know, 6-7 weeks. You can just do singles and then save up a little money, do another single. And I mean, it's just attention grabbing, you know, it's just like, hey, here's a song instead of the whole album, and people only check out a couple songs here and there. It just seems to be fiscally responsible just to do the singles for now.
Absolutely.
I think we saw it best with Lorna Shore's the Pain Remains record. They just kept dropping single, and people were like responding to it so much better than they were with like, hey, here's the album, you know what I mean?
I've been seeing a lot more bands doing that, where they're just dropping a few singles and then releasing the rest of the album.
We did that for Hymns. And we had the 2 standalone singles. We released Reaper first, I believe, in May, and then right before, I think 2 weeks before the album dropped, we did Survivor. But it seemed like those were the songs that got the most, you know, the most playtime, and it made sense because those were the ones that were being promoted, but it also kind of left the rest of the record just in the shadows, kind of. And it was a little disheartening. I mean, that was our first record, like full length, so we were like, man, I thought that was gonna do better, you know. We wanted to and I think a lot of why we took so long to even get to the point where we were like ready to start the process for releasing Egregious Sins was that there was so much packed into this 6-minute block, and we wanted to really we wanted to light a canister of gasoline on fire. We wanted to blow the spot up. So I mean, I think it did that, but it also means we're going to take a little more time to craft everything we do to like that specific notch where we can say, okay, this is something that it's going to hit. You know?
And big ups to the engineer, Alex, the guy who did all the recording and mixing, because he had so many tracks to deal with. I think it was like 150?
It was something like that.
Yeah. Like he had so many. When you have that many tracks to try to mix, like you can't, like, it's hard to make everything level. So he put in a lot of work to make it sound as good as it could without losing much of anything. Because that many tracks with orchestration, with guitars, with vocals, like it's a hard balance to try to get everything where it needs to be, where everything can be heard and nothing's overpowering anything. So
So I think we set the bar really high with Egregious. So moving forward now, everything we're going to do has to be that level or better. So it will take extra time to make
it released, and all of us collected like shit. All right.
Well, there's the bar way up there.
We set the bar pretty high. So
it was such an ambitious song, and like you guys are saying, now that you're trying to stretch your limits, I bet it makes it hard to know when you're exactly done with this new type of music that you're making, when you're so used to making thrash and like you kind of know how it works. But now that you're pushing the limits, like you had so much in that 6 minutes, but it showed so much about all of you guys, where you do want to take some time with your next singles to make sure it has that level, because it got me so excited. And like you're saying, David, the amount of tracks that were being layered, that's like Nightwish level type of engineering that's happening. And that's what made me so thrilled to check out you guys, because it's so, for me, I'm not a professional, so I don't know how you guys do all this all the time. And you guys all live in different areas, and it must be really hard to actually make just a single itself.
It's easier than I think a lot of people imagine it is, because with the technology nowadays, Graham can send us like anything he needs. Like even being in Chicago, that's kind of why we were like, okay, let's give this long distance thing a shot, because he can just, I mean, the guy's, Graham, you're a machine. You know what I mean?
He's a wizard.
He can pump out like an entire song's worth of stuff, get critiques on it, take it back, and have it completely redone the next like day or two. It's like the workflow is fast.
You send him a guitar track, and then he's like, "That's cool. Here, I made this," and you're like, "Well, there's a new song."
Yeah, that's actually what happened a lot in Veil of the Reaper. I had sections that. And the reason it sounds so drastically different is because up until the end of Hymns and Blinding Darkness, I was writing all the guitar parts. So when Austin took over, I mean, the guitar playing just skyrocketed to another place.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. And but there were a lot of sections where I was just like, I have background chords, but I don't have like a lead or anything to put in mind. And he was like, "Oh, I got it." And then he like came back with I think it's the pre-chorus section that he did that I was just like, oh my God, this is perfect. I never would have been able to do this, but just having the backing chords laid down gives him the room to do anything.
He's a wizard.
And yeah, that song was really, it was near and dear to the heart because Alexi Leo is by far and large my favorite musician of all time. I mean, for years I've been playing the V shape that
right on the knees.
Yeah. This guitar is actually played in the video, and we kept it to both V's because it like I took his loss so heavily. And David and I were at his final concert in Los Angeles, and the guy just he looks so frail and thin, and it just broke my heart. And like,
wow,
I was like, dude, I'm writing a song to this guy because like now I have to kind of process this musical grief. And but that song just, it had so much of him layered into it, and like the whole band of Bodum, they're why I'm doing this today. I mean, just straight up, that's so having that song come out as good as it did, especially with all the keyboard parts and the dual guitar solos and everything like that, it just, that was like, I was like, okay, I can officially say I put this to rest. Like I've done our homage to him and to Bodum, and you know, I can emotionally move on from this. It's funny how writing music like that, it helps you process grief and stuff.
It's very cathartic, right?
Yeah. Very cathartic.
Yeah. And something I did want to ask, and this is for everyone, and I want to start with David. Tom was mentioning how many hiccups you guys have had. We had a massive hiccup on our channel where we were actually interviewing Marcella Bavio. I don't know if you guys know her.
Absolutely.
And we accidentally forgot to hit record. So we're happy we hit record with you guys. But that was a big learning curve for us. She's gracious enough to give us another interview in the future. So like nothing really lost at the end of it, but it definitely taught us how to be a bit more professional and that. So I kind of want to find out, what are some of your moments of a slip up like that has really put you into gear and now has made you more professional from it?
I like how you had to check that you were still recording when you were saying that. He's like, we remembered to hit record.
I have never enjoyed a robotic voice saying "you are recording" as much as I do now.
I used to use Zoom in my old job, and it was just like, dude, come on, do it. I don't know, man. As far as slip ups go, I mean, it took me, like with Egregious Sins, I was pretty like, I was okay with how my vocals came out on it. Like right off the bat, I was like, yeah, all right, cool. I did have to go back in a second day, which is fine, but most of my stuff that I do is like within a day or two, which is here nor there. I'm not David Coverdale from Whitesnake by any means, but people say I nail it on the first try, and I'm like, I wish I had more tries. But like Sins was like, all right, yeah, this is fine. But with like Expedition, it was my first time in a studio. I didn't really have any direction from the engineer. He's like, yeah, that's fine, let's go. And I was just like, it took me 2 years to kind of like be okay with my performance of it. And that's kind of my biggest hiccup of anything, is just liking what I do, you know, because you're your own worst critic.
Right.
So it's just like everybody else is like, yeah, it's great. I'm like, stop lying to me. It's not that good. Because I feel like imposter syndrome in the musician industry is a pretty big thing. It's just like I'm lying to people. I am not this good. Why do they think I'm good? I tricked them too. So I'm just kind of here. I'm just kind of here. Like everybody else in the band is far more talented than I am at everything. So I'm just happy to be involved. But yeah, it was just there wasn't very many like hiccups for me, I would say, because I just kind of ride the wave for everything.
Right.
Everything with me moving out to California just kind of like lined up as like destiny, it feels like, because I was able to get the money together to fly out, find a spot to live. I lost the spot to live and instantly moved into a next spot. And then again, that happened. Everybody was leaving. So I moved into a spot like the day that I was moving out. And then, Tom finding me and everything just kind of rolling through, pandemic happening and us kind of like taking a break and then getting back together. And it's just kind of like been train kept a rolling,
Right.
ever since I've moved out here. So like, I don't really, the slip ups come from, I don't know, having procrastination issues because like I need that pressure to actually get some shit done.
Yeah.
I understand that.
It's like I'm gonna do it, and then like it's like, hey, that needs to be done in 3 days. You're like, oh shit, okay, and then it pops out. That was kind of how my lyrics for Diary of a War Dog came out, because I was reading Tom's uncle's book and like needed to get it done, and then eventually I was just like, oh shit, I got to record this in like a week. So I was like, here we go, and then I've cranked those out. But I mean, I haven't had too many slip ups out here. It's really just kind of keep grinding, keep working, try to make some money, and then just keep on. Like you're gonna have slip ups, so I don't necessarily try to dwell on them at all. It's just like, all right, that happened. How can we get over it and keep moving? We have to just deal with it, because being from the South, where you don't have a lot of money and you got to do a lot of stuff yourself, you just kind of like, well, that happened. How do we get past it?
That's
every obstacle is there to overcome.
I love that. That is such a great way to live by. Every obstacle is there to overcome.
Yeah, it's like it's like you're in front of a wall. Okay, you can go over it, around it, under it, through it. Like, what are we gonna do? Like, don't dwell on what has happened. Dwell on how you're gonna get past it. So,
perfect.
Stop worrying about the problem and start thinking about solutions. So it's just kind of, I never deal with this. It's like, yep, that happened. Okay, that sucks, but how are we gonna move on from it? So I don't dwell on slip ups very long at all. Like, it sucks, but we have to keep going.
Of course. And you guys are actually our first band interview. So I also want to say thank you for giving us this chance to try this out. And hopefully we're doing a good enough to try to get everyone talking here.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Graham, you have a lot of stuff on the internet to find out about you. So like we have a lot that you've gone through, and we wanted to know, like, you've done sound design for video games, you've done sound design for really everything. Going through all these different genres and avenues, what are some of the things that you have learned, say, from doing video games that have helped you with your music storytelling? Because we call you storyteller here.
Oh, thank you. So in working on films and game development teams, when you are the composer for that team, your job is not really to of course, it's nice to put your own stamp on things, but the overall priority is to find out what the director is trying to do, find out what her stamp is, and you need to bring that out with your music. So, if you're a member of the team, and if every single member of the team was like, oh, I'm going to put my own spin on it, I'm going to do it my way, well, then it would be this incoherent mess, So it's good to find your own sound. And that's what I found. And that's what the rule generally is in media composition, composing for film, games, especially advertising. You need to find out what the creative direction is and acclimate to that. It's not just, oh, what do I think it should be? It's what does he think it should be? And how do you bring that out with the sound? And so I think that's mentality has helped me do well in whatever band I'm in, because I'm bringing into the mentality, especially a band like this where Tom already had this, vision of his. This is a band that he started.
Yeah.
So I was able to go in there to take this mentality. Oh, well, what is Tom looking for? What are the other guys already in this band looking for? What is their, in game design, they call it their design document. So I metaphorically speaking, tried to find out what their design document was. And it's like, well, how can I bring this out? Be myself to an extent, but also, what can I do to enhance that which they're already going for? So I think that's, in bands, I feel like if you go right to being in a band, it's as opposed to being in the film/commercial world, you don't immediately, it's very easy to know quickly, oh, this is the mentality you need to get in the commercial world. You can't go in there and just be like, oh, what do I think it should be? You got to find out what the director's vision is. And I think that enabled me to meld well with whatever band I'm in.
Wow, no kidding, eh? And like you also did stuff for like Coca-Cola, Mercedes, Dodge, and all that. So it's incredible to know how many things you've done. Even you've worked with Disney as
I didn't
well.
even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like those were like commercial pitches and stuff, and those were some things for some music libraries, like production music libraries that kind of work is they want music for X TV show or X thing and X project, whatever documentary, and then they're like, we need music in this style, we need you to write it, and they give you a creative brief. And so so one of those things, like the Coca-Cola thing, that was like a pitch. That was a pitch for this Coca-Cola commercial with this music house in LA I worked with. And another one I think on my site was I had a couple placements in this TV show called Contender. Another one in these game shows that are on Fox and whatnot. And again, it's all about, they give you this brief, this rundown of, here are our references, right? We want this, Hans Zimmer sounding track, but we like this aspect of the track, but not this aspect. So they kind of give you a proof of concept of what kind of tracks they want you to be writing. And again, so that really helped force me to, write in different styles. You really got to learn to analyze the reference tracks, analyze what they like and what they don't like about it. They'll tell you we want this, except for this, with this plus this, like this Hans Zimmer thing, but we want more sporty sounding. And you got to find out, what does sporty mean? Because sometimes these people you're working with, they're not musically minded necessarily. They're producer minded. They're, they're creatives at an ad agency. So you have to find out, well, what on earth do they mean by sporty, So
no kidding.
They use adjectives that they can't say. They won't say, oh, I need this I need a bunch of parallel sus4 chords in order. It's like they won't tell you that stuff,
Yeah.
So you gotta find out a lot of adjectives they throw at you, and you gotta decode what those adjectives mean. And I think it makes it that much easier. So when I go and I'm working for musicians, they'll, their adjectives they'll use are much, relatively speaking, much easier because they're speaking in musical terms. So it's it's two different worlds, but in some ways, but they're also, in terms of collaboration, I view them very much the same. I view this no different than working with like a game development team.
Wow.
And finding out, what do you guys want and how can I make that possible?
Right on. Good answer there.
So something I have a question for you about is with our research of all of you, I found out, Graham, that you have an undergraduate in psychology as well.
Wow. You really researched.
I found your LinkedIn.
Oh,
I don't even know that.
Yeah. Wow.
So
this is news to all of us, by the way.
They're gonna like pulling like a David Blaine on me, where they're like pulling out, here's your baby picture.
I thought I was the first therapist.
So I found out that you have an undergraduate in psychology, and with your game development, you actually were the game Liquidators that you worked on was nominated for best sound design for an indie game in 2021 Game Awards. Now with doing, you said it's very similar working with video games and then with bands. How do you find your undergraduate in psychology has affected how you write music for bands and games, and how you promote that towards an audience?
Thanks. Yeah, so I would say With the study I did in psychology, you want to there's this quote I really like from this film composer I like. His name is Jerry Goldsmith, and he had this famous quote called I try to score don't score the gallop of the horse, score the fear of the rider. And I liked that quote a lot because you're trying to the whole reason of having music in a film or in a game is to unless it's cartoons where it's like you're literally scoring, that's called Mickey Mousing, where you're scoring every like step the character's taking. But outside of that, the whole point of the music is like, how can we communicate what the character is thinking or feeling that can't be said through the dialogue. And so you mentioned the Liquidators thing. One thing that happened with the Liquidators was there was very, very little dialogue in that game and very little characters. They're literally the three guys you're controlling, and all you can hear is their breathing. And so we wanted to make up for the lack of dialogue. We wanted to treat the room itself you're in as if it were an actual like monster you're inside of, like you're inside this belly of a beast. And in order to do that was I gave all the different sound effects in that game kind of like a breath-like cadence. I gave it a quasi-musical cadence, but also kind of like a breathing type of cadence to make it feel like you're like inside of some like dying creature. But I made it mechanical. So how do you mimic the organs of a body, but doing it with more mechanical type things. Terrifying. So so I guess to tie that into the psychology thing, it's just the psychological understandings really helps me remember what you're doing here is you're not just writing music, you're trying to elicit a feeling, and that comes first and foremost. And all the virtuosity that might come from there, the shreddy parts and what that is there to serve the purpose of eliciting said feeling. I think that's that can help. So when writing metal music, you want to have some shreddiness, you want that crazy technicality, but I guess knowing that you're trying to elicit X emotion, that helps you pull out, okay, why am I playing this scale? Why am I playing this mode? Am I doing it just because it sounds cool? No, I want to find out why this mode elicits this, why this, we've started using a lot of whole tone scales, which are scales that don't have any half steps in them. And the thing about whole tone scales is those lack of half steps is there's no center in it. There's no leading tone that gets you to this point of finality. And that helps me when I want to score something that's just really uncertain, like you don't know where you are, like there's a vertigo sort of feeling. So like to condense it all, to make a long story short, it's like just my interest in like the psychological effect of music kind of helps elicit X feeling, get for X situation.
And I think
that was a long answer. Sorry.
No, that's okay, because what was also said about that game for the Liquidators is that you created such a scary game without any jump scares because of your score. So that's a testament to what you actually did to bring the emotion out without needing to do jump scares to bring it out. And also that you were nominated beside Hades as well, which is one of my favorite games. So that's nice. Pretty up there for what type of production you were making there. Yeah, Hades, great game, right?
And I know you also worked on Journey, which is a game I played and loved.
I didn't Journey, that was like a rescore of Journey actually.
Okay.
So that was just like a demo saying like, hey, what does it sound like? This is my take on the music. So
okay.
That'd be cool. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Like, damn.
I was
that would have been awesome. No. That was just that was that YouTube video that was like you probably saw it. That was just like a rescore of my take on it. He was like, hey, you guys like Journey? Like, here's what it sounds like if it was done in this slightly different style.
Okay.
So it's just like a more of an experimental thing.
Thank you for that correction.
I want to clarify that so I don't get like lawsuits coming. or
Yeah, no
whatever.
kidding.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And hey, Austin, Shadowsill, we want to find out more about you. We tried to find out a little bit online. We couldn't find as much, but I would love to know some of your history coming up to Our Dying World, and if you played for other bands or if you've always been a guitarist yourself.
Yeah, so I've been a guitar player since I was a kid. But in terms of like other bands and stuff like that, my project band, my pet project is a band called Disrupted Euphoria. That's like my baby.
Okay.
We're like if Rob Zombie met Pantera, I guess, because it's like really
Oh, cool.
theatric and gothic, and like we just have a bunch of props and all that kind of stuff with
Nice.
Unga Bunga metal riffs. So I've had that for a good minute now. It's me and a few friends who I met in college who like we all were okay at our instruments at first, and we're like, hey, we suck now, but let's like while we're learning to get better, let's see how this band progresses. So that's
Right.
kind of like that's my pet project, and I'm really happy with how that's coming out. Then ODW. Okay, like you've heard my story how I joined ODW,
Yeah.
and by the time I joined ODW, I was a competent guitar player, I like to think. And, so I came along with that, and then more recently, I just joined up with a band that both me and Tom were in called Thrown into Exile. So I'm in 3
okay.
bands. Yeah,
Damn,
I'm in 3
you're-
bands.
Wow.
Oh, I love the way you put up 3.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
So, I guess I'm like a musical whore. But no, like the way I see it, the only things I want to do with my time is either play guitar or ride dirt bikes. That's the only thing I want to do.
Ooh.
So one of those two, one thing is being taken over by the other, which is good because dirt bikes are dangerous and I need my arms. So so it's basically just like all my time is usually dedicated to either learning new songs, writing new songs, practicing for a set, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is one of the few times I don't have a guitar in my hands, actually. It's
a good thing.
Yeah. Funny little like side story. I met Tom and Dave actually before I even joined ODW. Tom came up to me while we were going to the same college together at one point, and he was asking me like, "Hey, you want to join this band?" And at the time, I was like, "I have to study," and I was also scared to talk to people, so I was like, "I can't right now." And then, sure enough, like 2 years later, I joined the band. And then Dave, I think you told me a story where like Disrupted and Two Face played a show together, and wasn't that like a tape you used for ODW? Was that a thing?
Yeah. It was at the garage over here in Ventura.
Yeah.
And I sent Tom one of the tracks that I had, I did all of
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah. And you were like, send me some videos. And that was one that
That's
Katie,
right.
my fiance, had taken. And you were like, yeah, you're in. Let's go.
Yeah. So my band and his other band played together, and all roads lead to this band, apparently.
Yeah.
I love how you
All roads
guys
lead to
have
Rome.
this community where you've all come together.
Yeah. It's pretty cool because like initially when I came to the first rehearsal and everything like that, I'm like, I'm just gonna walk in here, and there wasn't any like weird like get to know you process. It was pretty much we were joking within the hour.
Yeah.
And I mean, Austin's always been really good at like coming in prepared prepared with material. So I think we threw down Cult Aside because it was the easiest one, or Postmortem or something like that. And I was like, he's got it, man. That's what we need.
Well, I knew how to play Cold Aside, Postmortem, and Armageddon at the first practice.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then Nick was thrilled I was back on the drums. He's been advocating for that, regardless of what I've wanted this whole time.
Tom, your needs don't matter. You're too good at drums.
And that's what I've been dealing with for 4 years.
I have to say, your drumming really impressed me. You were at 225 beats per minute on your drumming in
that's Austin's fault.
phenomenal.
By the way.
That's Austin's fault.
Oh, thank you very
I love
much.
the double bass. So when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, this drummer.
You'll really like the next single then.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
I actually had to completely relearn how to play double bass for that. For a long time I was playing. I'm going to get into a little bit of technique here, but I used to play the swivel foot technique, which served me well up until around like the 200 mark. And then after a certain point, it exerts a lot of energy, so I start losing momentum.
What's swivel foot for people that don't know?
So swivel foot is kind of you're basically while keeping your toe on the pedal, you're moving your heel from side to side, right to left, really, really fast. And there's a lot of drummers out there like George Callias from Nile, drummer from Neo Bliviscaris. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Pete from Havoc, Pete Weber. A lot of them utilize the swivel foot technique to get that really fast. And once you hit those high BPMs, you know, that's your thing. But I couldn't do it in the time allotted, so I started picking up the heel toe technique, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're putting your heel down and then your toe, and it creates this illusion of a drum roll on two bass drums. So
that's really cool.
I had to completely reconfigure my pedals. I had to trigger up my kit, and don't get me wrong, I wouldn't turn it around for the life of me now, but I've actually had to utilize two different styles of playing when I'm playing with the triggered kit and when I'm playing without one. And this song is so fast, I can't play it without triggers yet. I'm gonna get there someday, but for right now, it's got to stay triggered, and so I can only do that when I bring my really, really big drum set around. And I figured out that most sound engineers are not thrilled when it walks through the door. So, but
they're like, what is this?
yeah. They take one look at it. They're like, dude, you're not the headliner. What are you doing? I'm like, it's for one of the songs we're playing. Please don't hate me. Yeah. So we're going to play that song very sparingly, but when we do, it's going to be in a big room. So
one thing I wanted to ask you, Austin, as well, you brought up that you went to college, and also those are amazing PJs.
I love the Jack Skellington. I've been admiring your Jack Skellington PJs.
Thank you.
One thing I want to bring up is you guys actually placed second in America for the Battle for Vakken in 2022. Congratulations. That is phenomenal.
Thank you very much. We're
Where was that, and who were you competing against?
So we were well, okay, when we first did our heat, we came in first place for the the local level.
Okay.
So that jumped us up to I'm sorry.
That was Austin's first show.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was his
your first show?
I was shitting myself. It was my first show.
Swallow the Sun was in December, where he's like, hey, do you need any help like loading equipment? He's like, yeah, can you be at practice on Sunday? And then that was mid-December, and then by mid to late January, we're playing the first show of the Vakken battle, and he's just like
thrown in the fire.
Yeah. But yeah, we won our first heat at the local level, so that would have been Los Angeles. And they had LA, San Diego, and then Orange County. I think that was our local level right there. So we won first place in the LA heat, which bumped us immediately up to the West Coast finals, I believe.
Wow.
Which we also won. It might have been. I think there were. Did we play two or three before the final?
There were two locals. So we got through the first one and went immediately to regionals, where the second
that was the West Coast. Yeah, and then after the West Coast, we were the second place for
all of America.
Let me see. It was Danella Drive. It was Phantom Witch from San Francisco. They're a killer thrash metal band. Mithrium from San Diego, and then there was one from Seattle. I can't remember.
Pitch Black Mass.
Pitch Black Mass, that's right.
Okay.
And
get down. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got a kitten up on where she shouldn't be.
I've seen your kitty going around. I've been
we love cats.
He's adorable.
Yeah. It comes with the territory. Metalheads love cats.
So from there, so we played 3 out of
She
the
was
4
definitely about to pull something off the table right there.
We played 3 out of the 4 rounds that were supposed to happen. We placed first for the first 2, and then the third one we just shy of first. But
closest voting, wasn't it?
Closest race in the history of this contest over the last 10 years. We were the closest.
Wow.
It was deadlocked. It could have been a coin flip. We lost by depending on the
was
judge you
essentially.
ask, we lost either by half a point or 2 points, depending on the judge you ask. So
Yeah.
Wow.
literally was a coin toss. Yeah.
But the guys that did win are actually very good guys, and we love them and everything. Mithri and the band from San Diego. So yeah.
Oh, right on.
I was saying before we lost, I'm like, oh, if we do get beat, I hope it's this band.
Yeah.
They're already.
And it was so close that when we were talking to Mithrium afterwards, they were like, yeah, when you guys, because we played, I think, last, they were like, yeah, when you guys were playing, we were just drinking at the bar. Like, these guys got it. Like, they thought that we were going to
Really?
win. And then, that's how close it was just like, and then they got announced and it was just like, wow. So, but they're really good guys. We had them play for us at, they came up to play our CD release show with us when we released hymns.
Yeah.
So we had them on the bill, and it was a really good night. That was probably one of our best shows that we had put together.
Yeah.
Was for our CD release party.
Oh, I was scared to death during their set, not because I was scared of them, but they light incense during the set, and I'm allergic to frankincense, like badly.
Oh
no.
So I go to watch the part of their set, and I'm like, nope.
and then it happened again in Tijuana with Exile.
Yeah, they lit it in Tijuana because they didn't know I was with Exile, and then I was sick for like a month and a half.
Oh wow, that badly, eh?
It's bad, dude.
Damn.
If I breathe it in for too long, I might choke on blood.
Oh wow, that's not good. You need an EpiPen.
Metal as fuck.
Yeah,
that might have
literal goblin.
That might have helped us win. Maybe he would have coughed up blood.
Yeah, if I died,
It's like, no, it's a stage effect. It's great.
Damn, their production is crazy.
That was the one thing we were missing. Yeah,
he stayed dead. He stayed dead for 3 songs. He's so committed to kayfabe.
You gotta have your Aussie moment, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That reminded me of the School of Rock, where like you guys came second, but like you guys were still loved as much. I don't know if you guys seen the movie School of Rock. But...
Oh yeah.
And I mean, like that was kind of my point to the guys. It's like, there have been so many bands that are legendary at this point that when they were young and did Battle of the Bands, they didn't win. Like they took second or third place, but they outlasted whoever won, which I mean, Mithrium's great. They're going to keep going. Like they're not going to stop. So I'm not like saying they're going to have their downfall by any stretch of the word, but it was just like, like Van Halen played a Battle of the Bands and didn't win.
Oh,
and they came out to be Van Halen. So it's just like, just because we took second place doesn't mean that we're a crap band who didn't deserve to be there.
Second place is fantastic, especially when it's that close, because there's so much talent out there in the world, and to be rated up there with them, like you guys are phenomenal.
Keeps you hungry too.
It does keep you hungry. That was
Yeah.
something. So I actually am just getting into metal music. I've grown up with orchestra. I actually grew up playing a tuba in concert band and stuff like that.
Concert band, yes.
Yeah, so I'm a band nerd.
Same.
Okay. Yeah, I was in choir.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Choir and band, those are my things. So I'm just getting into metal. That's where symphonic metal actually really brought me into this music scene, because it has what I'm used to, as well as the darkness like Austin loves, that I love too.
Yes.
So you actually had one of you had a interview with Metal Rules, and they say that the quote from it is they've come to stir the standards that hold the metal scene and redefine them. So how are you redefining the metal scene and stirring the standards with the music that you have put out and what you're pushing out now that you've all come together?
Nick, do you want to go on this?
Oh yeah.
Sure. Throw me the hard one.
I wrote the quote, so if you need saving, just let me know.
That's fair.
Perfect.
I don't know if we're redefining. Maybe I'd like to approach the question from a different way. I don't know that we're necessarily redefining, because there's fantastic bands like Nightwish who've treaded this path before us, that have that are mixing orchestrative and film score elements into their music, and there's plenty of black metal bands out there that I'm sure Austin knows that have
Ex-Deo does a really good job.
that we're going down. So I wouldn't say that we're redefining it. I would say that we're more finding our own feet and finding our own footing, and we're still kind of finding our own footing, because even with these singles that you haven't heard and the songs that we're putting together that are coming forth, if you listen to them back to back, you'd say this is not this. These are different bands. They they sound like different bands. So what I like about that is that shows me is that we haven't even exactly yet completely figured out this is our one true path. We have so many different musical ideas, and we have so many different paths we think we could tread, that we want to explore them all. Now, I don't know if that means we're going to end up like a liquid tension experiment, or
Oh yeah.
or something.
Nothing bad with that.
Where we're not definable. No, I think we will eventually come up with a definable path. But right now, I think that's part of the fun. Is it's kind of like, goofy analogy, but running through a field of flowers. Like we don't exactly know where we want to end up yet. So we're kind of, well, let's not limit ourselves. So I don't really know if we're necessarily redefining as much as we're evolving as musically as a group. So and I think it's a good thing, and it's exciting for us.
Out of all the bands that I have heard, I think you guys are pushing the black metal with the symphonic metal the best, because at first when it came in, it was so heavy, and I did not expect to have such amazing transitions into the symphonicness and all that. So that was jarring in a good way, and I think that's where you're kind of standing out, for me at least, with the symphonic metals, because like Nightwish, Epica, and then you guys are up here for hardness, I would say.
Yeah, which is how hard it is, and how like phenomenal those transitions were. It really drew me in, and I absolutely loved it. So when I saw this quote that Tom wrote, I saw this quote and I was like, yeah, I can actually see this, just even with the one song that we had listened to, with how you are pushing that envelope to try and redefine or like define yourselves within that symphonic dark metal genre.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like, stirring it is probably, because it is a lot of symphonic orchestral stuff, but at the same time, it's not like, classical music as in this is the piece. It's like we are, especially with what Graham does and how his background like incorporates into the band, is we are like, it's more cinematic than it is just strictly orchestral and symphonic. It's like, we could, and that's going to be a problem when we're trying to make cool music videos that need to match what the music sounds like.
Yeah.
So, just having that cinematic aspect is something that I really love, of just like, you can get like the stretches of like the strings coming up, and the tension, that how some movies make you feel when nothing's happening except just silence and darkness, but there's this low hum of tension.
Absolutely.
So just that film score aspect of it is something that I'm pretty excited about.
I think when I wrote the quote, I was thinking about like how we would represent ourselves in the metal scene here at home, and certainly don't want to cast any shade on any of the bands we play with. We love our community, and like but we also, after leaving Whiplash, I got a taste of that good life. You know what I mean? The traveling, the catering, the stuff, the extra stuff,
the rock star life.
Yeah, and I wanted to write music that not only represented that, but represented the stuff I wanted to hear as well. And I had, the reason I kind of wanted to do it myself was because I couldn't join a band that was doing any of this stuff. And when it came to a lot of what's being played, it's it's great. We have a great metal scene. I just want to put that out there. Like we have just about every genre you could ask for, except for this one. And I was like, you know what? I want to be fast. I want to be epic. I want to be big. I want to be shreddy. I want it all. And I couldn't find the people who were capable of that. Were already committed with some big projects. And I was like, okay, so I can't, like, I get it. You got your own thing going on. But I also wanted to see more than what I was seeing. And that's just out of personal taste. I love, one of my favorite albums is In Sorta Diaboli by Dimmu Borgir. It's so dark and full and massive, and it makes you just, it's like, damn, dude, like how did you get to this point? And I wanted music that was going to reflect people thinking that about me. And
Right.
Finding Graham, I mean, all of those reasons that he mentioned with the psychology and everything, I was just as blown away by hearing that as you guys were. That's the reason I'm not writing the music anymore. Like, that is exactly why I'm not a songwriter now. But I mean, that is the level that, like, even just hearing that, I was like, that's why he's the guy. That's why each of these guys is the guy. You know what I mean? Because in their own way, they bring that to the table, and in that sense, it redefines how I think our band should be. It's like, we all love to do this. That's across the board. Any musician who's playing music and doesn't enjoy it shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? But like,
of course,
for us, this is that higher place, that higher mentality of like, this goes deeper than just a couple of songs and some fast drums, and like, we want to elicit like a feeling of awe and wonder, you know what I mean? And like, listening to how, especially, not trying to toot my own horn, but those are the fastest drums I've ever put down on anything. And hearing that back with all the orchestration and the guitars and everything that, I was like, this is why I'm doing this, because like, not only are these the best songs I've ever written, but they're pushing me to other levels that I was not able to attain like 6, 8, 12 months ago. Like, this is new. So, that is part of the reason why I say we're stirring up the standards, because when it comes to what people accept for, what they want to see in music and in their projects, from what I've seen, I tend to raise the bar a little higher and say, hey, you can do better than that. And they've all done that for me. They've said, you can do better than what you're doing, so find a way to do it. And we have.
Wow. So you guys are pushing each other so much. Your chemistry is unreal. Just seeing how all you guys are able to bounce off each other and not step over each other with the speaking actually speaks volumes to how you guys are performing. And you guys say this is somewhat long distance, because does that mean, Graham, are you in Chicago, did I hear? And everyone else is in Los Angeles then? I'm
in Chicago. The rest of them are all in the Southern California area. David and Austin are more in like the Ventura-ish area, and then the rest are in, Nick, you're in like Riverside-ish or something like that.
Orange County.
Yeah. So, and then Tom's in Long Beach, and so we're all, even within California, kind of spread out, but we make it work,
And that makes it hard. That makes it hard for us to get shows, but also like, what's the style of music we're playing? It's hard for us to like find a show, because we are kind of one of the only bands, especially like locally, that's like has the sound that we have, whereas like you have a lot of power metal bands here. You've got this is where thrash metal started essentially. So it's California. You've got massive amounts of thrash metal bands. You've got death metal bands. You've got a couple black metal bands. But as far as bands that are doing kind of, Egregious Sins is kind of a black metal song, but our other catalog, it's not as dark as Egregious Sins, and even some of the newer singles aren't like as black metal as Egregious Sins. But like, us trying to get a live show is just like, we're going to be a standout, and not even necessarily because of the skill level that each one of the guys possesses and like the songwriting. It's just like, what the music sounds like is not going to fit in with an entire death metal lineup on a show, or like an entire power metal. It's like, we just can't really find a place. So that's a good and a bad thing, because we are kind of standing out in our own way, just because like, we're over here and everybody else is kind of like, we can find our own thing, but we're over here with it. But it also, like, when they have variety shows, we can pop into that thing and just be like, good to go. But we need another tour like Morse Percipium-esque coming around, or like, Insomnium or
Abigail Williams again, you know what I mean? Like
Septic Flesh, somebody that's got that orchestral, like, symphonic sound to them. Because like, it seems Flesh.
Like,
they're so good.
Yeah, of course.
I have all of the great mass tattooed along my arm here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
We're gonna be
so-
Austin and I are gonna be playing with them in Mexico at the end of the year.
Yeah, they're playing with a full orchestra too, and I'm like, I'm going
Yeah.
to die.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
exciting. I love full orchestra like concerts with you have like with what Septic Flesh does and like Epica
Jimmy.
and everyone. Is that ever something that you guys would look towards
Ab-
doing in the future?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Get the
Absolutely.
funding.
Yes.
At our album release show, we had a live celloist for one of our songs.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Love cello bass. Love
Right.
it.
That's Hunter. Go listen to Under the Hunter's Blade, because I don't think we'll ever top having a cellist play unless we can get a full orchestra play with us. But
Yeah.
that is
Yes.
like the primo. Because there's a cello break in Under the Hunter's Blade, and having him up there to do it live was just so good. It was the best.
Is that from your hymns album?
Yes.
Yeah.
Second
We'll
song.
have to check that one
Check
out
us-
because we
okay.
haven't checked. We've only heard Our Egregious Sins, and that actually brings up a question for me because your band is Our Dying World, and I'm actually curious how you got that that name and what made you come up with that as a name, and then those that style of music, I guess.
Relevancy.
Relevancy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Thank
lot
you.
of current events, and it also just seemed like I know a band name's going to be a good one when it sounds like, oh, there's definitely a band named, Our Dying World, and then I go online and there's not, and I'm like, okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of just current stuff in the world. People are getting fucked over, government's not doing their job,
Mhm.
Oh,
the environment's
amen.
dying. Like it's all kind of coming crashing down. And I initially, like, I wanted that apocalyptic sound, you know what I mean? And you
Yes.
kind of get into that on the track Armageddon. It's the last track on Expedition.
Oh, okay.
And but Egregious Sins is like far more. that's where I wanted it to go. And I'll drop a song title name without saying anything more. The upcoming single, which is going to be called Ex Imperium,
Thank you.
that is peak what I wanted to hear pretty much this whole time. That
Ooh.
song felt like almost a manifesto of like where my idea of this would like peak out and where the guys are going to carry it from here. Because it is just I mean, you can like the way Graham's written the orchestration, like I feel like I can like witness the fire coming from the sky, and like, as if a big like comet was coming and all the asteroids are just like right before the final blow. It's so powerful. It is such a powerful song.
I have
Lyric-
goosebumps
Yeah,
thinking
we're
about it.
goosebumps.
Lyrically, it matches. Lyrically, it matches that too. Me and Graham teamed
we
up for
worked
the
on it
lyrics
together.
of it. So, yeah, then I kind of would still like to keep that apocalyptic, like Armageddon, like, because I mean, yeah, anyway, because like you think of Our Dying World, it can die, and so it's dying in so many ways that we just have kind of a
Yes.
plethora to pick from about like lyric content or like sounds. And that's another thing too that you had touched on before with the orchestral stuff is like, it's very evocative, and that's what I love about it. Sort of like about things. All songs that I listen to need to evoke something in me emotion wise, whether that's when I'm writing lyrics too, it's like, what does this song make me feel like when I'm listening to it? Because there's far too many times where I listen to a band and the music sounds great, but the lyrics don't match the music. They don't make me
Yes.
feel like the music does. And it's like, so when I'm listening to it, I'm like, what does this make me feel like? And am I angry? Am I sad? And, what emotion am I trying to bring out of this? Which helps me vocally, because as kind of a mild-mannered human, I, need to tap into a darkness in my brain that I turned off about 15 years ago when I stopped being an angry teenager.
Right.
So that's a struggle in itself. But as far as the orchestral stuff, we're going to start poking more at it. Graham's going to start getting into more of it, because we do have an orchestral version of Egregious Sins.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to touch back more on just like bringing orchestral versions of like songs from hymns over to just having their own orchestral version.
As a fan, that's really important to hear it with the lyrics and not, like, because it gives you two different feelings, honestly, when you're hearing the
It does.
song.
It does. Just the Egregious Sins has like there are certain parts that it feels the same, but then there are parts that where like the solo part, it just drops out and it's just like a chill little, like creepy chill little piano part. It's just a complete, 180 from what the actual part of the actual song is, just like brings it down. And so it does present, multiple emotions depending on what version you listen to.
And another question, then you make the lyrics yourself then, David, and then you get help with Graham, or?
It's a collaborative effort. Tom wrote most of the lyrics. He wrote all the lyrics for Expedition, most of the lyrics for Hymns of Blinding Darkness. I think I took over for War Dog because he was like, bro, I don't have any idea. I mean, I can do it, and I was trying to really, because that song is about a book that his uncle wrote about the Vietnam War. I took some creative liberties with it because the book itself, he's like, I didn't have the run of the mill experience, but I was like, well, this is a metal song and I have to like bring something to the table. But I did pick little aspects out of the book to present in there, like certain lines out of the book, anything like that. So reading through that book is just, trying to write that inspiration to that. And as far as Ex Imperium, like it was kind of, I had some stuff written. I had like the verses written, and then Graham comes in and he has like the choruses written, and then we both kind of team up and just kind of like mix and match. We get on like the Google Drive to where we can see each other editing, and just like, what about this? Nice. What about that? What about this? And I'm just like trying to count with my fingers, just trying to make it. I like to write lyrics with syllables first, about how many syllables do I want in this phrase of the song. And then I kind of go back and like, I'll have the premise written about what I want the song to be about. And then I try to make it fit within the syllables of like, like a certain cadence to like really, because lyrics to me and vocals should be an instrument within themselves.
Absolutely.
So they should really be like the icing on the cake or whatever, to really kind of like pop in and out where it's rhythmically needed. That's kind of like some of the old school death metal where they just like run it over the whole thing, and you can't like, you can't hear any of it. So it's just like a Cookie Monster the whole time. And that was another big factor for me, especially as I've worked really hard on like the articulation of lyrics, just because like you're spending all this time writing lyrics, like why would you not be able to hear them? So that was really a big part of me, plus Lamb of God being one of the bigger influences. You can pretty much pick out everything.
Your voice sounds like the guy from Lamb of God a little bit. That's what I first heard when I heard the song.
I get it. I get that a lot. It's like, well, that was kind of the first, because kind of where I got that sound from, other than like Pantera and Metallica being the gritty singing stuff. It was like Lamb of God was like the first like actual like metal vocals that I learned from. So, well, then I kind of try to go from there, from like Opeth with the lows, and how Michael Ackerfeld does his, to where like Hypocrisy. I love Peter, can't pronounce his last name ever, but Hypocrisy is like one of my vocal. I strive to be like that style of having the full range, still able to understand the lyrics, because that's a big factor of people who don't like metal. Is like, what's pretty much the 90% of the time, what they say they don't like about it is they can't understand the lyrics. So I feel like if I can bring that out and you can understand at least most of the lyrics, because it gets hard sometimes to make the sound and the lyric, then like I can reach a farther audience that normally wouldn't listen to metal, but now that they can understand the lyrics, they're like, this is, what I don't like about metal is not being able to understand what they're saying, and here I can. So maybe I can reach other people and bring other people in.
That's something I really like about your singing style, is that it does follow like a syllable and a pattern. So it does make it easier even for me to understand some of the lyrics that you are singing with such a deep growl. You mentioned having that the syllables with music. Are you big into poetry and stuff like that, and you use any of those styles when you're writing your lyrics?
Yeah, and that's kind of going to be that was kind of what I was excited about with Ex Imperium, with the newest single coming out, is as I'm reading back through it, I like back in English class, what do they call it? I'm drawing a blank here now, brain fart. The
Creative writing.
Rhyme schemes. The rhyme schemes.
Rhyme
That's what it
schemes.
is. You know, like when you're studying, when you're going over Shakespeare, it's like A B C D C D, and you know,
Right.
it's like they try to rhyme like that. But like going back to like old hip hop, like Biggie, like he would do A B C A. You know, so he would rhyme the first and last first word, you know, first line, last line together. And with Ex Imperium, it's kind of like I like how it changes from like A to B, and then like later on it goes ABCA or something like that. So me and Graham kind of worked out this way to have like different rhyming schemes in there. Tom has a different kind of writing style, and I dig it. It's kind of more like kind of what Tool does, where like they rhyme a word in the middle of the sentences as opposed to the end of the sentences. Like just you'll get a rhyme every so often. And being the vocalist, like you can kind of do like Eminem does and like take words that wouldn't normally rhyme together, but you say them a certain way so they do rhyme together.
Yeah,
Say the word messed up enough, it'll rhyme with orange.
exactly.
Yeah. So like, it's just kind of, doing that as a, you just got to figure it out kind of where you're going to put stuff.
Right.
Like I kind of forgot where I was going with that.
Sorry.
You guys are all incredible musicians yourself. And Nick, I wanted to ask you a question because when we were looking up your history, you've been performing for 20 plus years, and you've actually been a bassist for a lot of different types of bands. Some of the bands that stuck out for us were the Go-Ro Band, which is a Hollywood rock. You've done the Pillar Saints, which is Christian rock, and the Quarantine, which is rap rock. So
this is new to me.
This is all news to us as well.
I am
Christian rock.
more the musical whore than Austin is.
Yeah, so there you go, right? But that's just such a wide variety of musical taste, because obviously it was metal and a bunch of other things too, but those three kind of stood out as ones that are like, whoa, we didn't think you were going that route. And with all these different types of bands that you performed with, how are you bringing those stuff into this band, which is like symphonic, which kind of can collaborate any type of genre in it?
Well, obviously, I'm dating myself by that list. Clearly, I'm the dinosaur in the project. But yeah, I have a pretty wide range of musical tastes, and I like a little bit of everything. And my basic philosophy is, good music is good music. I don't really care what genre it is. So yes, as you can see, I have touched on a number of different styles because I would find something interesting about the music in each one of those projects. So, which is what would gravitate me towards them. And so how does that, and symphonic is absolutely my favorite genre of all time. So I almost wore my Nightwish shirt today too. So
I wish you did.
I know, I thought about it for a minute and then I was like, oh, I'll sport the colors today. What the heck? But yeah. So how does that fold into ODW? Well, I think it's just good being well-rounded, is that it just opens your mind to all different possibilities when we're in the songwriting process. And so at least for me, there's no closed doors when I don't think in one specific genre. So when we sit down to write music and I'm listening to ideas that Austin has, or listening to ideas that Graham has, or hearing what Tom is envisioning for parts of the song, I usually have a pretty open mind because, again, having all these different influences, to me, there are no closed doors. Whatever, we should not, I don't want us to limit ourselves to, well, gee, we're mellow death, so that's all we can do. And I don't think it's all we can do at all. I think this is, without tooting the horn of these guys, I think we can do anything. So there's no reason to limit ourselves. Certainly in the creative process when we're coming up with new song ideas. So for me, I think it just helps me personally be well-rounded. I can always approach kind of everything we're doing with an open mind.
Wow, yeah. And like there you go, you guys finding out some stuff that you didn't even know. We didn't think we'd be letting your own members' stuff. So that's actually awesome. And also what I wanted to find out too is Graham, you have worked with Andy Hill, which is a former VP of music production for Walt Disney Studios and head of Cinemus. It says that you have produced consistently superlative and innovative music over the year we've worked together. He is also as good at taking and making musical sense of creative direction as any composer I've worked with. Could you elaborate with any Disney stuff that you have like worked with?
So Andy Hill is he was like a mentor of mine. He taught, I took lessons with him because he worked for a long time as a Disney supervisor. But I worked with him as kind of like a mentor sort of role. He was a mentor to me, and consistently, I really wanted to get better as much as I can at the just writing music in general, but also in film scoring. And so I sought him out as a mentor, and we worked together closely. He would send me clips of film scores, and had me rescore them. He had me work with friends of his that were other mentees of his in the film world, because he has his feet in both lines of work. In the music side, he's a composer himself, but also mentors a lot of directors and stuff. So I sought him out to really just hone in on my craft a lot, and that's what that quote is from.
Okay.
He was really instrumental in helping me really take my skills in translating emotion to music to the next level. And so that's where that's from, is working with him. I really wanted to seek out how can I be as good of a music composer as possible, and more importantly, how can I be as good of a collaborator with directors as possible. And like I said before, I kind of view Tom as working in the same way. I view him as kind of like, because he's very much our artistic director, our creative director. Even when he's not writing riffs, he kind of gives us the direction. It's like, I'd like us to take this more symphonic black direction, and kind of gives us this vision. And so yeah, working in that capacity, like that Andy guy I was working with, that was another way in which I really honed in my ability to kind of take creative direction and make it possible.
Wow, you've worked with so many amazing people, and it always encourages me that how available people are to now ask and get this help from. Like, I didn't think we even could get you guys to come on, but like just how much everyone is humans and still want to help each other out. It's just incredible. And the metal community, unlike anything for us, it's the best community around the world. Everyone has this
Absolutely.
sometimes look where it's maybe we're a little darker or something's going on, but we're actually the nicest people, and the most relatable and willing to be a hero for anyone else. And what we want to try to do for you guys, and what I kind of want to know your process moving forward, maybe Austin can talk about this first. When you're just putting out singles, what's the best way for people like us to push it forward? And also, what are you guys trying to do for now playing live? If you're only putting out a single, do you ever go out and go onto a show and just perform your singles? Or like, do you wait till you have 3 of them and then you go out?
So for the helping us part of things, just share it. Like you guys have helped more than most people have.
Yeah.
First of all, there's that. Yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Yes,
You
thank
guys, you guys are doing a great job. Yes,
Thank you.
sharing it, putting on playlists, all that kind of stuff. Just like making people aware of it who might not know of us already, which you guys have done exponentially. As far as the show playing process goes, when we're deciding a set list, it's funny when I think of it, because I use an amp modeler, and the main one the main patch I use for this band says "Punish Them." So that's how I feel when I think of the set list. So
Nice.
It's So we try to, depending on how the setup's going to be, for like if we can bring our own drum kit or whatever, because that affects, like Tom said, if we can actually play the really fast stuff. Mm-hmm. But typically, we want to throw all the new stuff on the set. Usually before Egregious Sins happened, we would try to do like 3 and 3, so like 3 off Expedition, 3 off Hymns, and that's our set. And then we have a little bit more time or less time. That's what we have to like kind of think of it. So now Egregious Sins is thrown in there, and then when more singles come out, then that's when we almost have to start thinking of like, well, these are the new songs. They're on the set list. Like, there's no question about it. That's it. Of course. Yeah. And now other songs has to be phased out, and that's almost the sad part, because you're like, you guys aren't important anymore, so you can't be played. That's what it feels like, but it's not really. That's not what it is. But yeah, it's kind of like when you see like so like I said, my favorite band is Cradle of Filth. The first time I took my girlfriend to see them, she only knew stuff from like the early 2000s and stuff like that. So she missed like 15 years of Cradle, and they're playing all this stuff. She's like, I have no idea what these songs are. So that's a big band, but at the same time, it's kind of like finding the right balance of like the songs that people might not have heard before and the songs that people do know and have heard before.
Right.
So we'll experiment sometimes. We'll be like, let's throw a cover in here, or let's play this song we haven't played in like, a year, and we'll see how it kind of works out, because it might feel good to us on stage, but how's it translating out there kind of thing. So it's almost like this cool like juggling thing of just like, that song didn't work because of these reasons. It's like, okay, let's try this then. But yeah, it's just like, it's this balancing act of like the new versus the old, and also the ones people want versus the ones we want to play, kind of deal. Absolutely. But Egregious Sins will be on the set as much as we can.
Absolutely,
that's on me to figure out the double bass. I promise you, it's being worked on actively. It's not a song we can't play.
When was the last time you guys all performed then? And do you guys have live performances online that we can see?
We do. We have a few songs from our album release that's on set, and our whole performance from our last show, which was back in May, I believe.
We played 1720
opening up for Abysmal Dawn.
Okay.
So yeah, there's live footage you can find. You can actually find the song of us playing with the celloist at our album release, because that's on video.
We'd love to see.
It's all on our YouTube channel has a lot of that stuff. So if you just search Our Dying World, you'll find the little album artwork of the Egregious Sins, and that's our channel. But we got a lot of live performances, and as long as the audio is good, we try and post them.
Yeah, you can see the progression of the band. I think our first show is up there. And,
nice.
Oh, that's right.
And then like you'll see the progression from that into like, okay, well now these are a couple of new members, and then it's like, okay, well Tom's playing guitar on this one, and where did Tom go? Now they just have one guitarist, and that show at the Whiskey A Go Go is the one we picked Austin up from.
Right.
Yeah.
and then the Vakken battles happen, and there's some videos of that, and then there's Austin up there, and so it's just kind of a whole progression of video wise of just like, everything that's happened, setbacks and member changes and music evolution, stuff like that. So there's just kind of this whole like pattern of like first show to like the last show we played and how far we've come from that. So you got the music evolution, but then you can also have the visual representation of it too. And they're not professionally shot, most of them. So, their sound quality can be really hard to come across on a phone or anything like that, or even a camera at a live show. So, it's not like they're recorded over the live show. It's actual sound from the show. So whatever the sound guy was running that day is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a question, because you did mention the album artwork, and I loved that album artwork that you had.
Yes.
Who designed that, or did you guys come together with that as a collaboration?
My good buddy Paul Allender, the original guitar player for Cradle of Filth. He is the one that made that. He hasn't been playing live a lot recently, so he's kind of dabbled in. He actually does kind of what Graham does, makes library music, stuff like that. But also, people, if you hit him up for artwork, he'll be like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Okay, and,
that's awesome.
That's what he sounds like. Done. That's not a mockery.
No. I sent him just like, "Hey, here are the lyrics," and then I'm like, "Do you want to hear the song?" And I was like, "No, that's fine." And so he I think like 2 days later, came back with like, "This is good," and then I'm like, "I think that's good," and I sent it to everyone. They're like, "Yeah, that's good."
That's very good.
That made me very happy, because I make all the thumbnails for all of our channel, and I do all of that. And so when I saw your album artwork, I was like, "Oh, this is perfect."
Also,
we had some great reactions on the artwork. And I think it inspired a bunch of people to get in touch with Paul Allender. That's for sure.
And speaking of Paul, that was kind of I don't know what to call it, but like a thumbs up to Tom, because when Paul heard the track, he's like, "Who programmed the drums?"
Yeah, that's right. He did say that.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then Tom's like, "Yeah, I didn't. Nobody did. That was all me."
Have you guys ever performed in Canada or are going to perform in Canada moving forward?
We'd love to.
We'd love
I'd
to.
love to.
That's
There's
great.
what is it? The Hyperspace Festival, I think, is
Hyperspace
melodic and power
Festival,
metal.
Yeah.
I think it's in is that in British Columbia or is that in
I think that's
Alberta?
Vancouver.
I think that's Vancouver. Vancouver
BC.
has a lot of metal bands that come and perform. We actually just moved from BC to Calgary, so that'll be interesting. We are going and seeing Dream Theater this month.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite bands. Like another one of my top keyboard-ish influences. Dream Theater.
Yes, phenomenal.
Like all three, Jordan, Kevin, and Derek, all three of those keyboardists. They're all
right.
Yeah. They've all
pick up
great keyboardists.
Yeah.
With that, and you just saying that Dream Theater is one of your favorites. Have any of you met some of your like idols or your
I met Jordan at Guitar Center. He was doing a thing on this sample library.
Amazing.
So that was cool. Yeah. And I got to meet all of Dream Theater actually, just because they were just doing signings after the show. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
And I ran into Ozzy randomly once.
Oh wow!
When I was 11 years old, on my way to the
really cool.
on my way to the bathroom, and I ran into him, and I didn't need to go to the bathroom anymore.
No kidding.
I also actually ran into Ozzy in a waiting room in downtown Los Angeles one time. But I've actually been really fortunate to be able, in the last year or so with Thrown to Exile, be able to meet an incredible amount of my heroes. Like, we were lucky enough to be, backstage at the big stage, and I've got the pentagram from Death Cult Armageddon on my chest.
Ooh,
and Silent Oz took a photo, and like we talked about just the history of the band, and I got to watch side stage as they played their set. I got to meet. I actually drank with our crews from Lamb of God. I met Randy, I met John, I met Mark, and Willie wasn't there, but they had Phil Demmel playing guitar. I've been fortunate enough to play multiple shows with Machine Head, so Matt Alston is becoming a friend of mine, and the Orbit Culture guys too. They're an up and coming band out of Sweden, and they are just not only the sweetest people, but they are some of the heaviest motherfuckers on the scene right now. And I'm friends with all of them as well. It's actually a bit surreal for me. I feel like I'm, like David said before, imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not exactly deserving of this, but I'm certainly not going to turn it away. That's for sure. But yeah, that's been the last year or so for me. And we're going to meet a bunch more people when we go to Mexico Metal Fest this year. And got to talk to a lot of people at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Not trying to push Thrown into Exile here, but I have been able to do some amazing things with that band. Austin's going to be on that journey now as well. So
yeah, wow.
And that's where I'm kind of trying to get. That's where I'm wanting Our Dying World to go, because it is pretty much the only band I have that's like pushing this, because like I said, my other band is basically a tribute act. But people love it. As far as, I haven't met really anybody. I met Joaquin, the singer from Sabaton, just randomly as I was walking, because they opened for Amon Amarth in New Orleans, and I was just walking from my car to a bar, and he was on his way back. And I'm not the guy who just like, oh, I was like, hey man, good show, really appreciate it. Kept walking.
Right.
Met Danny Carey here in Ojai, a little town outside of where I lived. He was playing with a jazz band.
Tool drummer, right?
Yeah, tool drummer.
Right.
He is very tall. He is like 6'7". He is very tall. But took a picture with him. But I mean, like, I haven't had the opportunity to meet like my actual like idols and heroes. It's like, oh my God, you don't realize what you've done for me as a child, kind of a, guy. So that I'm hoping to get to that level. You just got to keep pushing, because at the end of the day, we do this because it's for the love of the game.
Yes.
However far we get to it, we'll still have stuff on record that we put out, and maybe it'll be famous when we're 50 and can't do it anymore.
I've met people by accident. So I've met Marilyn Manson 3 times, not at shows. He was just there. Yeah. I met him once at a party, met him once at a like wedding after show, because apparently the person that we were there for the whole marriage thing, the person getting married was a sound guy, so that was a whole thing. And then one time I just met him in the streets, so that's something. I have, through the only ones I have met that were not accidents were every single Cradle of Filth guitarist. I've met every single one, and including Paul. And I currently take,
because you're trying to take their job,
because I want their job.
He's scoping them out.
Yeah, that's the best way to get a good job, is scope out your idols, take advice and information, make sure you have the tips, and then just keep going.
Know your competition.
Exactly.
Know your
Poison them.
What are they allergic to?
Frankincense.
Yes. Paul's a friend of mine. We're actually we have this little project going now. It's mainly just recording. Maybe we'll play some shows, but that's kind of the thing that's happening. And then I take lessons from their most recent guitarist, Richard. So that's the whole Cradle lineage. I know them. Disrupted Euphoria played a show with Ty Trujillo, who is Rob Trujillo's son, and Rob Trujillo, the bass player for Metallica. He was there. The thing, it made me feel really good, because he was late for Sharon Osbourne's birthday party. So he was like, I'm going to watch the opening band on this show and then go. We were the second band. He stayed through our whole set and then left for his son's set to go to Sharon's birthday party. And he shot me a text with all the videos he took. He's like, this was a lot of fun. I'm like,
wow, no kidding.
Wasn't Geddy Lee there too?
Geddy Lee couldn't make it. He was sick.
Lame.
Yeah.
Lame.
Rush kicks ass, by the way. Sorry, Nick, you're wrong. Nick is wrong. I don't know how you're a bass player and don't like Rush.
Yeah. Our Canadian band.
I respect Rush's musical legacy. I don't have to be a fan of their music, but I respect their musical legacy.
Just listen to YYZ, dude. Just go listen to YYZ. Geddy doesn't sing in that one.
I've heard it.
The coolest thing I've ever done was I was a fly on the wall for an entire Slipknot album recording, because my boss was the touring bass player when their bass player Paul died. So he was the fill-in bass player for the entire volume 5. So when We Were Not Your Kind was being recorded, I got to be in the studio for that entire experience. And it really opened my eyes of being like, wow, these people are psychopaths, but I love them. So I've had a lot of weird experiences and just meetings that I haven't necessarily thought I would have, because the situations I've been in haven't led to that. Like the people I met with Thrown to Exile, that makes sense because I'm there at the show. I'm going to meet these people. But then I meet Manson at a party. I'm going to a studio that I find out it's the Slipknot recording. I'm all this random stuff. So it's been like this weird roller coaster ride, and that's really my life. So, I'm for it.
It's an exciting life.
Yeah.
He's only 25.
As he chugs his rock star.
He's still a baby.
He's
a baby.
Dew, sir. It's not a rock star.
Oh, Mountain Dew.
Code Red, yes. Let's go.
He's the baby of the band, and he's already done so much.
You love Rockstar, so you like this. I mentioned dirt bikes. When I was a kid, I used to race dirt bikes, and I was sponsored by Rockstar. So now I'm addicted to them.
Oh my God.
That's like our dream.
That's our dream to be sponsored
by Rockstar.
I can hit my guy. I don't think he's gonna do it though.
I've got a Rockstar mountain bike, and that's about as far along as I get for that.
My dirt bike bag is a Rockstar bag. Like this this is my dirt bike bag, and yep,
Oh,
it's
Oh,
a
I
rock
love
star.
that. See, it took me now engaged to a Kyle to get into my energy drink addiction.
Hey.
Is he actually named Kyle, or is he an honorary Kyle?
He's actually named Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
Oh,
So being the dinosaur in the band, I've actually had a lot of opportunities to meet many of my musical heroes. And back in the 2000s, I put out an album of covers songs, where the whole album is filled with nothing but of like my musical heroes that I tracked down one way or another. And out of that album, I have all kinds of wacky stories over the process of making that album. So yeah, I've been pretty fortunate in being around long enough that eventually I've gotten to meet most of the people I admire in music.
Michael Pond is the big one for me.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah, I'm a
Who's
huge
that?
Symphony X fan. So
Symphony X, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to Symphony X, go listen to Symphony X because you'll love them.
Okay, I will.
I haven't listened to Symphony X.
They are less like
yeah.
less like orchestrated, but their guitarist makes up with his neoclassicalness, so the guitar is playing like orchestral parts.
Except Odyssey is like crazy orchestra.
Oh yeah, that's a 20-minute song though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good to know. We love
my
our
first-
20-minute songs.
My first tour ever was I was drum teching for AJ Piero of Twisted Sister, and Russ Allen was singing for that band. He's the singer of Symphony X, and I didn't even realize that until halfway through the tour when he said, "Hey, we just got back at the album Underworld was just being finished mastered," and he was like, "You guys want to hear it?" And I was like, Wait. Oh fuck! I've been touring with Russ Allen for like 2 weeks already. AJ was definitely at the top of my list as well. He unfortunately passed away on that tour, but I got to see firsthand of like just what an absolute stellar musician he was and how many people respected him. I mean, we had a memorial show in New Jersey, and like Mike Portnoy came out to that, JJ Fredge.
Wow.
Just like there were so many massive names that just so I got ties with Symphony X as well. It's they're fantastic, and they're Jersey boys as well, which is where I'm initially from. So Russ actually lives about half an hour from where I grew up, so I've been to his house.
So I have a question kind of for all of you guys, unless you wanted to say something there, David.
I was just gonna say he is very tall too.
Yeah, Russ is tall. Yeah.
One question I have for all of you guys, and maybe we can start with David. We became a reaction channel about maybe 9 months ago, and it started taking off, and we didn't really completely understand why reaction channels were so, I guess, valuable for other people. But what do you guys find in the value of reaction channels, or do you have like some grief with it? Because I know some people don't like reaction channels because we're maybe using your music or something like that, but we think we can help push your guys' music and stuff, and we love sharing our art of what we love, and that's why we react.
Yeah, I actually watch a lot of reaction videos to stuff, mainly because like one of them I remember recently is I like watching a couple of the vocal instructors, like opera people, the vocal courses, react to like Lorna Shore or like react to metal.
I was going to say that the charismatic voice.
Charismatic voice.
One.
Yeah. So watching people, Lost in Vegas is a couple dudes that I like to see because I like watching people who haven't heard the music react to the music. Seeing those guys from Lost in Vegas react to like metal or country or like, there's stuff they don't normally listen to is fun to watch. And it's so great just to see like the respective, like, oh, these guys have never heard Tom Sawyer and they're reacting to Tom Sawyer. It's just like you guys are about to get your minds blown out of your head. So I actually really enjoy watching the reaction videos of stuff, and even the charismatic voice, watching her genuine reaction to I have never heard a voice do this before. Wow. Of like, Will Ramos is a freak of nature. I don't understand how he does what he does. So like it's like with me, it's like I'm kind of still the old school raw like vocal sound as opposed to like this really technical thing that's going around now of everybody having the best technique, and it's just like I have technique, but it's just like I still have this emotional just dispatch of vocals with what I think. But yeah, just seeing people who have never heard something before react to it, and just seeing their faces and just like, what was that? Wow. I enjoy it. I think it's more than a benefit. It just spreads whoever's music is just spreads it to a different audience, because everybody, I'm pretty sure that not a lot of people have their favorites of reaction channels, and they don't like have a complete catalog of every reaction channel that's out on YouTube or anything like that. So everybody's got like one or two that they do, and when it starts bleeding over into that kind of stuff, and then it can only help.
It's kind of I'm sorry.
Lost in Vegas is what I started for watching reaction channels, so that's amazing you said that.
Yeah, they're so good. Like when they did one of George Strait's songs, it was just like it was Still Make Cheyenne, or just Cheyenne or whatever. I think they were listening to it and they were like, oh, he turned around, there he's going. They just laughed at it, because like some of those songs are like really well put together lyric wise. So when they catch on to the lyrics, it's hilarious.
There's kind of a thing with reaction channels that, like, at least I've noticed. I like your guys's because it was a genuine reaction. You guys didn't like watch it ahead of time and script out what you're gonna like. Oh, we should do this at this part.
Yeah,
that's the part I don't. That's the kind of counteraction channels I don't like, where it's clearly like, oh, they're doing this because they've watched the video already and they know exactly where to react to, yada yada yada.
Right.
That's the part I don't like. So that when you guys did it, I was like, this is a genuine reaction. Thank you so much. And obviously, when people get upset that like you're sharing our song, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me at all. They are bringing your song and showing it to people. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're mad about that.
It's free publicity, guys.
That's what you want to happen, right? That's what you want to happen.
Like it happened with a buddy of mine. So he does he was trying to start a reaction channel, but then school and work and kids got in the way. So he's like, I'm giving it up. Yeah. But he was trying to do specifically like just underground metal. And this black metal band, who I will not name, got so mad at him for just sharing and reacting with that. And they're like, oh, okay, they're yelling at him. And I'm like, it's a black metal band. They get like 3 listeners on max. Why are they mad?
Right.
So, and I thought you were offering some things in their commentary wise that like, I was looking at the song, made me look at the song in a way that I wasn't even thinking about it. Like you said, like the sins are stacking up on top of each other. And it's like, oh, I wasn't even thinking of it that way. That's you're like helping me see our song in a way that I wasn't even originally looking at it. And, I was like,
and that's another thing too on top of Graham is like, when you write a song, you have the idea that you put into it to create it, but when it gets released, everybody else has their own different perspective, and they take something different from the song. So like what Graham said, like you at least me and him, you made me think of the song in a different way and seeing it from a different perspective.
Wow.
Thank you.
That means a lot to us, because I know going in a concert, you can't really get reflection from everyone. So it's nice to kind of get these one-on-one reflections, and so many different minds like hers. She just has so many things she can pull out of it because of her storytelling and her love for the lyrics, where I'm so much about the music. And it's just having her here has made me hear stuff that I've never been able to hear now. So it's amazing to hear how it's affecting you guys too.
Yeah, like I like reaction videos like the one you gave for us. It's like where you're doing some analysis, I mean, I can't watch a whole lot of the reaction videos where it's just nonstop, dude, that was sick. Oh, dude, that's sick. It went way beyond that. Yeah. And that's what I really appreciate about your video. It's just like, you're making me think about the song in a way that we didn't actually think of it originally.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. And we want to keep doing reactions for you guys. So whenever you have something new out
that'd be great.
Previous, we're going to keep pushing you guys out, because you're all amazing people, first and foremost.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
yes. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you go. I chat too much. You guys.
So do I. I mean, that's.
We all do.
I was gonna say the only time I really have an adverse reaction reaction to reaction videos is we're gonna get into it now. These goddamn people who go into restaurants and they like get their food and they take a bite and they're like, "Oh my god, it's so good," and then proceed to tell us nothing about the food, the texture, the taste. You know, oh, it's so good. This is the best. This is the best ramen I've ever had.
Why?
Well, yeah, thanks, genius. I could have fucking told you about the cup of ramen I made last night. I'm sorry for the F word.
It's YouTube.
but
You're allowed to
YouTube,
swear.
we're good.
Yeah.
We made it through the first like 20, 30 seconds or a minute without any cussing, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They won't get demonetized.
Yeah. The only thing I dislike about reaction videos is when people don't provide any information on the things, like, why do you like what you like? What is affecting you about that? Yeah. Why is this song hitting you so hard? What about this, you know, this cheeseburger is just like making you have this ungodly feeling right now. You know what I mean? Like, tell me about it. Tell me about the taste, the texture, the spices, the, you know, the details. That's my main gripe with all of that. And I just saw way too many of these cell phone Yelp reviewers who go into a place and they, you know, they attempt to review the food and they don't tell me why they like the things that they like. That drives me absolutely crazy. Other than that, I love the charismatic voice that David was talking about. That reaction on her face when she watched Through the Hellfire, that was what I imagine everybody who's never heard metal before, like, you know what I mean? And there was just such genuine awe in what she was hearing. She was like, I cannot believe my ears right now. And it was such a powerful moment, not only for like vocalists, but for metal in general, because somebody who is a classically trained operatic singer is now experiencing like one of the most popular metal bands around. And that look of like, I am staring into the mouth of hell is exactly what I want everybody to think about my music as well. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of reaction I try and strive for in all of this. That just like, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Like, it knocks you back in your chair. You were just floored by the overwhelming wave of sound and like emotion that comes with it. So that, you know, I like them. It's just some people don't do them very well. So,
and she's working with Will Ramos now too.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I actually signed up for some of those courses. No, she's doing like teaching. They're doing teaching courses.
Yeah,
oh, that's fantastic.
That's amazing.
I might want to take one of those.
I learned a couple things. I'm not Will Ramos, but I learned a couple things.
Yeah.
David, actually, now that you mentioned that, what got you into singing and growling and developing your voice the way you have?
This all comes back to, so I grew up on classic rock and country music, the good country, the late 80s, early 90s, up to 2000, before pre 9/11 country, because 9/11 ruined everything. It just turned and just everything went that way. I specifically remember when I moved from classic rock. So I was listening to, you know, Journey, Zeppelin, Foreigner, Skinner, all that stuff. But what really broke it to me was in about 2000, I think it was about 2000, 2001, whenever it was, when Disturbed did Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme song.
Yes.
And I was like, I was standing in front of the living room TV, just like mouth agape, because I was like, that. So I went and I started listening to Disturbed, Godsmack, like all the Metallica, like anything I could find. And then during high school is when one of my friends played Slayer Raining Blood. And I proceeded to go by Slayer Raining Blood, Behemoth's Demigod, and Black Dahlia Murder's first album. So I'm just like trying to and then I went to LimeWire and just started downloading metal songs. Just like all of it. I want to download all of it and listen to what I will and find what I like. And that came like Decapitated, that came Devil Driver, that, you know. So I attribute it to Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Bret Hart, his theme song is so good. The guitar scream in the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Like that just hit me in the core of like, I love this heavy guitar, just like screech or just like, you know, all that. And then that just the growling comes with it because when you're a vocalist, you're already singing in the car to whatever song you're listening to. So you just got to figure out how to sound like that. So when I bought Ashes of the Wake, it didn't leave my CD player for 3 months. And eventually I'm starting to be able to sound like Randy without it like feeling weird in my throat, and then just kind of progress from there. So yeah, I contribute a lot of myself to the Attitude Era and WWE.
That's amazing. So you're entirely self-taught then with your vocals.
Yeah, I was in choir
phenomenal.
obviously I was Southern Baptist, so when I was a kid, so obviously that's the music is there. But I was in like junior high choir, high school choir, college. I was in mass choir, chamber choir, and the jazz choir of college.
Wow.
But which helped me with like the mechanics of everything, like the how you diaphragm works and all that stuff, and pushing and breathing and like. But I think being a vocalist, you have this ability to mimic really well. Like you can do like voices, you can mimic people, you can do impressions of people pretty decently. And that's how I'm doing AC/DC so well, is you make fun of something long enough, you end up good at it. So it just came of just trying to mimic these guys to make that sound, and it just kind of formed from there. So I mean, I don't do like, oh, I'm doing fry screams on this one and false chords on that one. It's just like I just do whatever I feel the music calls for. And yeah, I mean, it's just all like self-taught, I guess, but it's mainly just trying to, what you do when you first learn an instrument is you try to emulate your idols, so like you just try to emulate that. And then once you get in your own band, you start getting your own sound or style to it, because it just comes out of you. So I'm not going to be a teacher of it by any means, because it's just something that happened. Like I hate to say it because it doesn't sound good when I say it, but it's like I just do it and that's what comes out.
It's talent. Very talented.
I appreciate that. I mean, I didn't think it would come this far. Being a small country boy from Mississippi, I was just doing what I like to do, and a door opened up to get me into Hollywood, and kind of, didn't take very long to get to where, Tom hit me up, and here we are just trying to make it happen. So it's something that I've always seen myself doing. My dad was in a band before I was even born, so I was kind of on the road with him as he traveled around the state playing in his band. I was on stage with him at like 3 years old, so like my entire life is kind of started on stage. And everybody always asks, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? It's like, well, a lot can happen in 5 years, and the only consistent answer I can ever give is I'll still be playing music. Like I don't know where I'll be or what I'll be doing, but I'll still be wanting or still playing music. So that's just something that I've been wanting to do my entire life, is be in a band and get on stage and tour around the world and play the biggest stages in front of thousands of people who like my music. Just that crowd interaction of just they're up there, looking at you. I'm basically a fan that plays in a band. And that's kind of how, like me on stage, I have to rein myself in some, because I start going so hard on stage because I'm like a fan of the music. So I got to take myself out of being a fan so I can actually perform the music well throughout the whole show, and not be like, oh God, I'm out of breath.
And then one song and you're like, oh my God, what did I just do?
I mean, it goes by so quick on stage. Like 30 minutes does not last long at all on stage when you're in it, because for a while, and even still, like at least for me, I enter like this trance stage of being up there where I'm just like, I'm hearing the music and I'm not even realizing that I'm doing the vocals. I'm just trying to make the vocals sound good that come out into my ear. So it's not even like I'm trying to do a certain thing. It's like I'm whatever. I don't know how to explain it, but like even recording, it's like I'm listening to myself without knowing that it's me doing it. Yeah. Like I'm listening to the music, but I don't recognize me as the one that's doing it.
Wow.
I don't know. It's
like
just
an
my
out
brain.
of body experience, kind of.
Yeah, I have a trouble opening my eyes sometimes. It's just like I'm just hearing it, focusing, trance, just like going.
Fair.
So it's something I'll still work at to try to be like, yeah, you over there.
Well,
But
hey guys, speaking that time flies by. It's
Yeah,
already been over 2 hours.
Sick.
Something that I have learned so much from you guys. Is the appreciation that artists actually do have for people like us, which really makes us feel good.
Yeah,
very much
because
so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
on the other side, you guys have mentioned how you feel like imposters, and sometimes, especially at the beginning of doing this, I really felt like an imposter because of, using other people's musics to help myself as well. And it's just nice to hear how much you guys do appreciate what we do, and how much, honestly, we love your guys' music so much. That was genuine. We want more. We're so excited for the new stuff. And to kind of end this interview, we want to give all of you guys a chance to plug any of your bands, or just Our Dying World, and anything that you want us to be excited for moving forward. So how about let's start with Tom, and then we'll work around the circle again.
All right. Well, yeah. Aside from, first of all, thank you guys so much for doing this. This is we love doing this. We love talking about what makes us do what we do. So thank you guys for taking an interest, and you are more than welcome to always share anything we put out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Same goes for Thrown into Exile too, if you'd like to check them out.
Write that down.
Austin and I have we've got a couple big shows lined up, including the first ever Metal Injection Festival and Mexico Metal Fest, and we got some cool stuff still waiting to be announced, so I can't say anything about that yet. Yeah, Thrown in Exile and Our Dying World are my babies. I'm not a founding member of Thrown into Exile, but I have taken a role of responsibility in which I feel I'm starting to become a forward-standing member of that group.
Parent.
Yeah, exactly. And this band will always be my pride and joy. I've never tried to record music prior to doing this. These songs are the only songs I've ever written in my entire life. And wow. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of all of the guys, and the stuff we have coming is just I'm so proud of that as well. It's something I really feel strongly about having my name attached to, and making sure that, professionally and musically, we're going in the greatest possible direction that we can. We've had a lot of learning over the past couple of years. I've certainly had my fair share of having screwed things up and having to kind of figure out a better way of doing them, but I wouldn't change it for the world. These songs that we just released, and the ones that are to come, they really are the true pinnacle of everything I've done in my career. And yeah, I'm so proud that people are enjoying it as much as it was for us to create it. So
how about you, Nick?
Oh, well, that was a tough one to follow.
Why'd you open?
Get good, son.
Nick's just like ditto.
Same.
Whatever you want to say. Also, let us know what dinosaur you think you are.
A brontosaurus.
I definitely.
He's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely want to echo Tom's sentiments. Thank you very much for having this conversation with us. We love talking about the music. We love talking music in general with anybody who will listen. and it's wonderful. Again, your reaction is absolutely genuine, and that means so much to us, and we really appreciate that. So we cannot thank you enough for having us on your channel. I guess since Tom plugged Thrown in Exile, I will plug my other band. I play in another symphonic big epic orchestra band like this. They're called Area 51, and we just released our first single music video from that just came out, so you can look that up at area51official.com.
It's prime, dude. It's so good.
It's good.
Right on.
Oh, thanks Dave. Checks the mail, bro. But yeah, so
paid advertisement.
But yeah, exactly. But yeah, just super thrilled to be, one of the founding members of Our Dying World, and I can't wait to see where we go with this, because it's going to be, I feel like we're at the start of our amazing journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We just found the path. So
Yeah,
I think you guys did.
I'm excited to see where this plane goes. So
yeah.
And Austin, how about you?
You're gonna get like 5 thank yous. So thank you. Again. So, no, I really do appreciate this. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for having us on here. Really appreciate it. In terms of the stuff I got going on, so like I mentioned, I have my project Disrupted Euphoria. So if you like spooky, scary unga bunga riffs, that's the project that it's myself and my girlfriend kind of founded. She's the vocalist.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
I'm one of the guitar players. Yeah,
They destroyed
Nice.
Costco bears on stage.
yeah. One of our gimmicks is we rip the giant their heads off and we throw them out, and then people keep them. They send us photos and they keep them. One kid caught one and he used it as his Halloween candy bag.
Oh
That's
my
amazing.
god.
Yeah. So for that band, we released our first music video Christmas of last year, and then we have our debut album coming out we're going to announce it relatively soon, and then we also have more music videos coming. We've been busy, but yeah, so that's like my baby. That's the one that I've made. And then I'm the happiest stray cat ever in both Thrown to Exile and Our Dying World. Our Dying World, you heard the whole story with that, and yeah, the stuff coming out. I'm pretty happy that these guys are allowing me to write the stuff that I'm writing, because one, they're able to play it, and two, it's a really nice avenue for my more like above 200 BPM kind of like avenue. We're getting closer to 300. We're gonna get there.
Oh my god.
We're not over 250 yet.
Tom's like,
Let's
"Whoa,
dial
whoa,
it back
whoa,
just a
whoa."
hair.
yeah.
I was like, no, we're not. No, we are.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Austin's like, I'm gonna need another 150 BPM out of you like tomorrow.
I'm peaking at 240 right now, so
Oh my
let's
God.
one step at a time.
All jokes aside, I'm very happy with the direction this band is going, and with Thrown into Exile, I just joined them like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So-
it's very fresh.
It's very fresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, whatever comes out of the woodwork with that band, I'm now a part of. So we'll see. I'm excited to see where that's going too, like all the shows and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not related to band stuff, but if anyone is in the Ventura County, Southern California area, I am also a guitar teacher. So
Oh, great.
Oh
to know.
wow.
yeah, I teach out of Camarillo, California at this place called Music Freaks, where we're a recording studio and a music school. So yeah, I teach. And funny enough, I always put every set list I get from a show, either one that I've played or one I've gone to, I put it on my wall. And then kids are like, I don't know what to learn today. Let's learn that one. And they point and like, cool, that's mine. All right, let's do it.
That's
Nice.
amazing. I actually love that concept where you take a set list, put it on the wall for the kids to pull from. That is an amazing concept. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
that's very ingenious. So congratulations with that.
Thank you so much. But yeah, that's what I got going on. If I'm not playing music, you can find me in the middle of the desert riding dirt bikes.
Awesome, man.
Sorry, not to interrupt, but Austin actually keeps score on he's got a running tally of how many times our songs are requested amongst his kids. And the list is always rotating, whichever one lands on the top. So
Reaper has Veil of the Reaper has the most tallies right now because it has the music video.
Wow.
And kids, it still pops up pretty much first when you type in our name on YouTube.
Right.
So earlier when we were talking about like how we decide the set list, I kind of look at that list and I'm like, well, according to my students, we should play these ones.
Right.
That's a great way to set a set list.
And
Yes.
also, guys, you can give me all the information for your bands or even your guitar teaching, and we'll put it in the description box. Okay.
Oh, cool. Thank you, man.
Fantastic. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm actually very curious to hear what you guys think about Reaper when you finally listen to it, because it's definitely different, but I like to think that's the peak of that era, and then Egregious Sin started a new one. But Veil of the Reaper is the song I'm definitely proudest of, just because Alexi and all. But
Oh yes.
I like Hunter's Blade a lot, so
Yeah.
it's just because I like folk metal. It's got a folk metal feel to it.
We like folk metal too.
Yeah.
Love folk.
Let's do it.
Awesome. And Graham, same question for you. Do you have anything that you are wanting to plug about the band or things that you're working on the side?
One thing I'm excited to be working on the side is, I'm always working on these like various trailer music albums and stuff, production music albums, but that's more like a constant thing. Beyond, as far as the individual plugs, you can check out my own site, which is grahamsouthernmusic.com. That's just my name, Graham, and then Southern like the South. So Graham Southern Music,
Yep.
all one word.
Not Southern Music, that's his name.
No, yeah, that's my name, yeah. And so yeah, that's the site where you can see stuff that I did for this band, but then also, the stuff that I did for games, films, stuff like that. You can see clips of the Liquidators game on there.
Yeah.
The Liquidators game, if you're interested, that's on Steam. It's totally free to play. So
my son wants to play it. He's a survival horror like lover. So
Yes.
we told him about that, and now he wants to check it out.
The cool part about that is, and the reason it's free, and the cool part is because it's about the guys who went in when Chernobyl melted down.
Yes.
And the guys that went in to prevent it from being a global catastrophe. That's what the game is about. And the reason it's free is because I think it's just, what do they say, bring his attention to it and just kind of like helps.
Exactly. You have the option to donate to the Children of Chernobyl Fund, because there's, even to this day, I believe there's after effects of that.
Yeah, there's still stuff going on.
Yeah. So there's we had it also during the Ukraine situation, which is still going on. We had a side donation to that as well, because that's kind of relevant. They're all tied together. But so Liquidators game, Graham Southern Music. We, as far as the band, we have a show coming up, a live show on July 16th. We're going to be it's sort of like a mini fest of sorts, I guess. It's at this place called the Doll Hut in Santa Ana. And
Anaheim.
Anaheim, excuse me. It's
the Doll Hut in Anaheim.
In Anaheim, yeah.
Okay.
It's cool. It's like a small place, but a lot of like SoCal, Allegiant, the band Allegiant. They're from Canada as well, I believe. Allegiant.
I haven't heard of them yet. No.
Yeah, they do they play.
They do a great cover of Subdivisions. They have a great Subdivision cover.
Yeah. They cover Rush. They also cover Yes. They do great. I know them more from their covers, honestly, but they're an awesome band, and they played there recently. And I think a lot of great California like extreme metal bands got their start there.
It had a huge punk following back in the day. So this bar has been around forever, and it's actually relatively famous for the early punk scene. It had a big.
Yeah. So I guess I'd say those are the and I'm doing some guest orchestration for this Chicago local metal band, but I'm not able to disclose anything at that point, but I'm excited to be doing that. Yeah.
Well, there's three things I want to say real quickly, Graham. Watashi no nama e wa Kyle desu. I know you speak Japanese very fluently. So I don't know much more than that.
Holy shit, what just happened?
Where am I? Don't take me back to that garden. That was just I also went to school for psychology, so I just wanted to reflect on that love as well. And also we used to stream video games, so maybe we'll stream that what's it called again?
Liquidators.
So there's a Markiplier one. He randomly found our thing, and we were like, holy shit, this shot up to like 4 million views in like 2 days. So we were excited. That made our stream skyrocket. So we would love it if you streamed that. We greatly appreciate any exposure we can get from that game. Yeah.
We'll do that with my 13-year-old son, because he'll probably stream a bit more than me.
Oh my goodness.
Please.
Yeah.
And how about yourself, David?
Well, I mean, I can't say anything you haven't heard already, but I do appreciate like not only like reaction to because you can get a reaction video, but you don't really get the connection like we're doing today. So that's kind of what we love to do, is like we put out our music to try to connect to people. And like, as far as me, like that's the biggest part, is coming off stage, talking to people, and just genuinely connecting with them. I am also a big gamer, and if you need a fourth, then let me know.
Okay.
Trying to 4-person co-op, and you got you two plus your kid, and like
I was
you
gonna
need a
say
fourth, like
I'm up for that too.
Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
What kind of
Yeah,
games do you guys play?
Yeah, yeah.
a lot. I've stopped playing a lot of the battle royales just because I like Call of Duty. I lost my interest a long time ago. I don't like the battle royale stuff too much, but I've been kind of rehashing a lot of old games recently, like Assassin's Creed. I play a lot of what have I been playing? I recently just bought a WWE 2K3 because my intrusive thoughts won. But like I play a lot of stuff. Diablo, me and some buddies are playing through the new
yeah,
Diablo right
Diablo.
now. Whatever. I don't care. Play Raft, play Green Hell, play a lot of the survival crafting stuff, Grounded. Just whatever I can play with friends is more, it's better to me than, because I like single player stuff a lot because I was
Me
a
too.
kid, a single child. So I was playing Skyrim. I was playing, played the Jedi Fallen Order and all that stuff and the new one. So I play a lot of single player stuff because not a lot of people played. I was always the last one to get the game. So while all of my friends were playing the game, and when I finally got it, they stopped playing the game.
Right.
Yep.
So I was just like, well, I bought it. Can we play? They're like, no, we're playing something else now. It's like, well, okay. So I'm all down for this.
Tom and I we grind on Destiny a little bit. We've also
Yeah.
been playing Borderlands recently.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland is great. Need to finish that.
I still gotta download that.
Yeah, I need that one.
Funny thing about so the orchestral version to Egregious Sins, I beat Elden Ring to that. I turned all the music off in Elden Ring. I just kept playing the orchestral version.
Oh, you prefer my stuff over the From Software audio team? That's awesome.
For the boss battles. It's
Oh my
boss music
gosh.
for sure. Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
Just on my desktop, I can see Star Wars Battlefront, Green Hell, Fall Guys, Hunter, Call of the Wild, Jedi Fallen Order, Hogwarts Legacy, Diablo 3, Call of Duty, Borderlands, Overwatch, Horizon Zero Dawn. Point is, I got way too much time on my hands. So I played. I like the shooters, but I'll play a little bit of anything.
All
And
the
I-
kitties in the house.
Where's our cat?
Our cat's locked out of our room. We have
He doesn't
two
like being
named-
picked up,
Nope, our cat just hates it.
and closed doors are unacceptable. So
This is Dean, and the other one. I don't know if you guys watch Supernatural at all.
Dean, yep.
Yeah,
Sam
so
and Dean.
yeah, I got Sammy down here. She was the one I was cradling before,
Aw.
and I've had him for about 3 weeks, and they're both under 11 weeks old. So
They look small. They look very
they're
young.
tiny.
We have
And-
Bam Bam and Pebbles for our two cats.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I have Beelzebubbles.
Beelzebubbles, of
Oh,
course.
I love that. Awesome. I know you're saying you're a Diablo fan. Kyle keeps telling me I should get into Diablo and get off the World of Warcraft, but it's been 17 years.
Yeah.
Diablo 4, I'm liking Diablo 4 a lot better.
you just
Diablo
took me
3
out.
after a while.
Sorry.
After a while, Diablo 3
There we go.
so after a while, Diablo 3 kind of got overwhelming in the hub world because it was just a whole
Mm.
bunch of crap just like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Diablo 4 seems to harken back more to Diablo 2, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So it's not as overwhelming. It's a little bit more spaced out. You get a mount too, so that's something that I haven't gotten to yet, but you get horses and stuff. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I think you should check out Diablo. Get off of WoW.
Yeah. You heard them.
Yeah, as they all say.
As a former Blizzard employee and also ex-WoW addict, I totally understand about being stuck on WoW. So
That's
I
really
get
cool
it.
that you're an ex-Blizzard employee, actually. So
Yeah, I was there at the time they were building WoW at the very beginning.
wow.
Yeah.
I
You're
saved
dating
up
yourself.
all of my allowance to buy vanilla WoW.
Where'd Graham go?
He died.
He got
I died. Yeah. The big U die screen. I clicked the whatever you call it, the stop video thing by accident.
Oh.
Do I gotta bring you in?
died.
We'll just
Ask to
Photoshop
start
in a
video.
picture
There
of
we
them.
go.
Start my video.
Yeah.
There we go. There we
There
go.
you go. I helped him.
Yay!
Hey.
You know, we can just Photoshop in a photo of him for the last couple minutes. It's
for
like
sure.
and lose
Someone
Tom.
else is gone.
And Tom's gone.
and the drop mic.
Well,
I think that's
Well,
time to say that.
I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah,
say
well,
bye, but
yes.
Tom's gone now.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're talking
Well,
about.
we're all dying. So
Well, yeah, our world is dying, so maybe we'll just end this here. And you guys have all been fantastic. If Tom comes back while we're speaking, we can say goodbye and all that. Honestly, guys, this has been such a blessing for us. It means so much to us that you give people like us time. We don't feel like anyone either. We have the imposter syndrome, so it gives us a lot of motivation to keep moving forward. You're our first full band. I would actually love to know real quickly if what would you guys have given us for criticism to help with this interview to make it maybe go smoother or something, because we want to interview more bands as well.
I mean, just the more you do it, the more you'll figure out what kind of works. Nothing, I don't have really any criticisms towards anything. I mean, you had questions, we answered them. We just kind of hung out and talked, which I feel like is the majority of how these things go for the most part. Like, you know, you got a couple questions, bam, bam, bam. Then we just kind of hang out and talk shop for a little while. And so, I mean, just if, you know, just keep going, and because you'll just figure out what kind of smooths it out as you go. So
your questions are well constructed, and they weren't like on the fly, like oh, what's your favorite color? Like,
what is your favorite color?
Take a guess.
Black.
Black. It's pink.
Also, I'm sorry about dropping out of the meeting. My cat hit the power switch button on all of the entire computer, and everything attached to it just went down, and I had to reboot everything.
It's all on camera, so you're good.
Welcome back.
Great, yeah. Love that.
Yeah, guys. No, you guys did great. Like no real criticisms. You're nice. You're funny. We like hanging out with you.
This is great. Yeah, absolutely.
Right on, guys. Thank you so much. Do you guys have anything else you want to say, or we would love to have a chat with you in the future when you guys have some more singles out? Anything
for
like that.
sure.
We'd love to help you.
We will always make time for you guys, no matter you know, no matter what the release schedule is. We'll definitely be sure to talk to you guys for sure.
Yeah.
If we find our way up in Canada, we'll hit you up and be like, hey, we're playing here.
We'll definitely let you know where we're playing.
We're here.
Calgary.
Maybe. That's where Stu Hart's wrestling school is.
Yeah, I can take wrestling classes.
We can go take wrestling classes.
There's 1.5 million people in Calgary too, so it's a good city to come to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's big. I would just say, you know, we'll push your channel and you push our channel, Spotify. I mean, all streaming, Tidal, Apple Music, wherever you find any kind of a music, obviously. So just any little bit helps from, you know, and the community is bigger than just musicians at this point with the YouTube, like reaction videos and all this stuff, and people just like wanting to help, you know, so we have to work together at this. So, you know, just push, everybody do their own pushing, and I think we'll all come out on top, because I have always had this thing of we go farther when we work together, kind of like, you know, the tide rises all ships, kind of a thing. So
oddly insightful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Graham, thank you so much for reaching out to us and getting this started. And we really appreciate it. And without further ado, we're going to end episode 4 of Storytime with ETC. This was Our Dying World with David, Austin, Graham, Tom, and Nick. They got a new single coming out soon. We do not know exactly when yet, and let's hope let's hope that label comes for you guys as well, because that's what you are wanting, and we have best wishes for that as well. But we are exiting the rabbit hole now, folks.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and being with Dying World.
Everyone.
Thank you both,
guys. Love.
God bless y'all. Okay.
Take care.
Thank you so much, guys.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Enter the Chronicness.
Special thanks to all of our YouTube, Patreon, and Buy Me a Coffee members. Thank you for all of your support.
Okay, man. Have a good day, everyone.
All right, you guys
you
too.
You too.
You too,
I don't
guys.
know how we're waiting for you to end it, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of that.
I'm making this awkward.
Yeah.
You hang up first.
We
No,
hit
you hang
record.
up first.
No, you hang up or not.
Okay, guys.
No, you hang up. See ya.
I don't want to hang up. I feel bad. Okay.
It was nice meeting you all, and
Nice
I look
meeting
forward
you
to
all.
seeing everything that comes from this and from your new now I get tongue-tied right at the end.
New
EP coming
single.
forward. New single.
Can't wait to share it with you guys. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Thank you
everything.
so much.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
we
you
had a
so
lot
much.
of fun.
And if you
Okay,
like the
guys.
older stuff, throw up a video for that too.
Oh, we
whatever
will.
you
We
want
will.
to do.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
We appreciate you all, guys.
Likewise.
Appreciate
Thank you guys
too.
so much.
Take care and good luck meeting up with the new guitarist
Yeah.
after this.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Yes, thank
Practice is at 3.
Yes.
I pushed it back with him just so
Oh,
y'all
boy.
know.
you.
You got an hour and a half to get to the studio.
Good luck, everyone.
Good luck,
It
everyone.
takes me that long. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
you,
hanging
guys.
up now.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna push the button. I'm pushing the button.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.